Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Samuel Loomis, newly awakened, as well as Samuel Durbridge. So, I want to start off with telling you that this is the start of the book chapters, the actual chapters, starting with 1. That's on page 29. Now, I do recommend for those that would like to listen to the book overview, it was very well explained about what the whole book and what my whole purpose of life and religious focus really is. And it explains some really happy feeling focuses because I achieved something I really wanted to achieve. And even though it seemed small, to me it was huge for what I accomplished, because it was done simply and it was done easily, and it was like I was being helped or provided that simple focus to have it happen. I don't know if anybody helped me achieve it, but it felt as though it was simply achieved and done in a way that I felt needed to be done, and it was done one time to achieve that goal. It was part of a game scenario where I may have done it once before, but it's been so long that I don't remember if I ever did. But knowing that I did do it this time, after me being authentic, helped me achieve that which I've always wanted to achieve. Now, the other thing that I've witnessed or experienced is that I achieved it in a way that I feel somewhat okay about. But I do know that it was done in more of a neutral way rather than a full fashioned way to get to where I got to. All I know is I did what I felt needed to be done and I achieved it. And I don't know, and it seems like maybe in the way that it was achieved, it needed to be achieved in that particular way in order to get the result that I got. Because I didn't just achieve what I wanted to, I completed it with the full achievement of required achievement. Now, and I did it in the simplest way possible. But in real life, or in life, now I choose to follow a path of full, peaceful, healing creation so that I can get to where I'm gotten. But now the game that I played balanced out to the choices, not really quite the same, but similar to what I felt may have happened in life or was put upon me in life, achieved what I am fully now. I think it really closely balanced, but not quite to what I really am. But the result achieved what I never thought would ever happen, or it wasn't sure if it was ever possible, and it was. Even though I've heard it was, even though but I finally achieved and seen that it is. And so it made me realize that if that is something that I can achieve, then this other stuff I can definitely achieve in the way that I want to achieve it. Now, maybe eventually I'll go back to that particular game when I have time or choice. My feeling is that game takes way too long to even do. And so it really, achieving it in the way that I did was impressively awesome. And anyway, the game is, I'm not really telling you what it is. It's basically KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic. It's a Star Wars affiliated game. And I beat it on the light side form. Some of it I helped do secret things. Not sure what would happen. So I didn't get full light side points. I got some dark side because I wanted to know a scenario in there where you go and help the Republic, or you think that you are, where you're helping go against Secret Order. because I wanted to know if the secret order information gave me any information or secret information about stuff, because games sometimes have secret codes or information that tell you how people orchestrate or do things. And so what happened was I was able to know that there is a secret order that shapes all societies and governments, and it was just, I wanted to see what it would go towards. But it requires you to go after other secret dudes and take them out so that this guy can be the only one that controls. But then it gives you access to like a base where you can get really extreme, amazing weapons, and you get a ton of funds doing it. So I don't recommend it necessarily for light side fully. And if I play it again, I don't plan on doing that version of the game. I just wanted to understand what it offered and what was being provided. And so in the game, it shows you those offering ideas. I prefer to follow the light, but I am more of a balanced individual when it comes to playing games. At the same time, a game could be another reality in another world. Doing that part of the game was something that I felt maybe I should look into and look towards. But another thing that was interesting is in this game, I didn't go after the Benedict Star Killer dude on Terrace at the beginning. I never chose to take him out, because that gives you a lot of dark side points at the beginning. I chose not to do that. Wanted to try to stay as light as possible. And then when I got to the secret working individual, where I wanted to try to see if I could complete it and what it would offer, it gives you a place where you can go to a satellite place. I don't know if you can get there without doing that, but regardless, I learned things and did stuff, and it did give me dark side because it has you kill certain secret government individuals within that game, that so that guy can secretly be the only one over it, because they were the ones above those secret orders. So now he's above the secret order. But since he's such a high personnel individual, he won't take you out. And it says that they won't go for people, they won't take out people that are so high profiled. And so I thought it was really interesting that the way that they explained is, if someone is so high profiled, they don't generally take out high profiled people or that are too high up there, because they're too high profiled to take out, or they're too strong for them to, or they're too protected to. And so I have always noticed that when it's someone that's an order that wants to stay secret and control all society, they want to stay as secret as possible. So doing that gave me information of how certain orders may be orchestrating throughout history. An order that doesn't want to be seen, doesn't want to be known, ever, never, ever does things to take out others under their organizational seal. They might hire others to go and do that, but they're not going to do it. In fact, they're going to orchestrate what they think should be orchestrated to help with the cause of what is more profitable for them, or helps them to stay in order to keep society going their way of society control. They're not really about who wins or who loses. They're about survival and thriving for them, and working with whoever is the winner. And mostly they usually will follow the order that they're under, so they'll want to keep if they're part of the Republic, they'll want the Republic to keep going, and they'll find ways to make the Republic survive. But when it comes to taking out a huge leader on the other side, they let someone who is more balanced with that individual to be able to decide the fate of that. But mostly they do certain things to help so that it makes it easier for them to achieve it. And so it's kind of interesting the way that it taught about those things in that game and explained that. And it made me go, okay, well, that gives you a lot of intel on how someone thinks. It gives you a psychological view of how societies and kingdoms and rulers are doing things to a degree. They may be doing even more than what that game was even implying to do things. There's not just one faction, there's several factions connected within everything. It's not just one order, it's several orders. And they all choose to be against each other at times, but sometimes when it comes to a common agreement, they stay to knowing that all of those societies need to still be around, because if just one is left, then everybody will know that there's only one left. But if there's several, then the one who's really in power, no one will really know who's orchestrating it, because there's several different factions that do. And allowing those factions to exist allows protection of other factions. And so you all can do your own individual stuff. And that's what kind of has happened. And they kind of brought that up in there too. But it's just, that's what I've noticed. Now, I wanted to bring up something. So I was saying yesterday was February 20th, 2020. And the way that the numbers are orchestrated in that pattern, it proves or shows that it was a beginning and an end. So first, it's a beginning, a new beginning and a new end. So basically, what it is that it was doubling the recognition of a new beginning to an end. So an end and a beginning. So it was basically canceling out everything that has been into the zeros between zeros. So there was amazing effort within yesterday, and now we're in a whole new form of beginning, because it was an end of something and a beginning of something. So it just started yesterday. So something ended in beginning. That was a big day yesterday. The way that those numbers went together, even if it was accidentally put together for that date, it occurred. And it was a Thursday, which is interesting. So now we got Saturday, which is finally the day that does the same thing. It's still a beginning and it's still an end, but it's a new form, and it adds up to a form of twos. And if you don't think about the zeros, if you're just doing the noticing, they all come up to a real fulfillment or real form of something amazing is going to happen, and something changing. And since it's an even number and a powerful number, it shows that there is a lot of awakening and a lot of information that's about to come forth. And I don't know what that is, but it's interesting that that is what's going to happen. So, starting tomorrow, that is going to be impressive. Someone brought it up today about it too on Twitter. And I'm seeing what they're seeing in a different pattern of what they've seen. But there's a lot of things that you're all going to see individually for you. So this is the beginning just happened. Yesterday was we got the twos that were We have the 02, 20, and then 2020. So we got 2, 4, 6, 8. So yesterday was an 8 if you're just adding it, all the 2s. Because if you try to add the zeros, it doesn't do anything. It just brings it back to 8 still. So yesterday was an 8 day. Today is a 9 day. And tomorrow is a 10. 8, 9, 10. It's counting to 10. Something big is going to either happen on Saturday or on Sunday. Because what is Sunday? It is the 23rd. So you got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it's adding up to the days for the rest of this month are going up. They're going to a certain form of knowledge and information. And it's information that is giving you awareness for your lifetime. It's giving awareness to my lifetime. And it's very interesting because it's going towards the particular direction of what information is happening. So for me, tomorrow being a 10 means that it's going to be very emotional. It's following possibly my chapters of my book to me, but it doesn't mean it will. But it seems like it might be doing that too. But it's really interesting because right now it's going by 8. Yesterday was 8. Today is 9. So what is chapter 8? So before I read chapter 1, I'm just going to mention what chapter 8 was yesterday. Because it seems like it's doing something, trying to get people to recognize something about my book or other people's books or something to me. And I don't know what that is, but I do know what 10 is. I do know what 11 is. And today is 9. So it seems interesting that it's and the numbers of the pages is pretty impressive too when I look at it. So on page 8, which was yesterday, was a 5. So change. 5 is a change number. Like I said, there's a new beginning and a new end and a new beginning. Or a new end and beginning. Both. It could be that it's wiping out any beginnings or ends and starting again. It's just clearing up everything to start with what needs to be. But it's even, so it has an even beginning and an even end. So it's a balance. We're in a balanced month. So it's a positive form of beginning and end. So anything that was stressful or harmful is gone, and everything that's good is coming to pass. Because odds are usually somewhat interesting, but it's basically showing that something is coming. And it's a balance of peace. It feels peaceful. Doesn't mean that the peaceful outcome will be. It will be whatever you want it to. So it's basically letting you go towards the path you feel is ready to be chosen. So it's letting people choose their path now. Everybody has their choices. Do they want to be on the bad side or the good side? Everybody's choosing their side. They're getting to the point of you have to choose what side you want. Every players are deciding what side they want to be on. So here we go. On 9, which would be today, so 8 yesterday was impasse and other abilities and how they connect with both alien and spiritual gifts explained. Oh my word, empathic stuff makes sense because I felt some really powerful, healing, empathic, amazing things yesterday. Now today is concepts and theories to solve theory problems and ideas that help and find a resolution to all problems that are not known, and if known, how to connect them together without breaking one's belief, but to expand one's understanding of all things. Now that was more of a religious statement that I believed when I was part of that church, so that's a little bit different, but it does explain what I felt back then. But it seems like it's a 9, so that's pretty impressive. And what's interesting is the page number is 138, so if you add those numbers together, it adds to 12. If you do 2 plus 1, it's 3. That's pretty impressive. And what is 9? 3 times 3. A lot of synchronicities here. And then we got 10. Now what version is 10? Also, it's talking about 12 on this page too. So if you don't add it all the way up, it goes to 12. So 12 has something to do with things too coming up. So it seems like it's going all the way to 12. That's just still 11. But here we go. So something about, so tomorrow will be 10, and tomorrow's Saturday, and then Sunday will be 11, Monday will be 12. Monday, wow. Why it's important to, and 12 is to the point chapter, so it's going to have all the chapters, everything explained in there as best as I did back then, but I'm going to do better this time. Break it down, and some of it I didn't explain it completely in the way that the chapter really was. So 10, why it's important to learn to control one's emotions without emotions controlling you and others around you. Oh my word. Tomorrow is an 8. Oh, that's cool. So tomorrow, it adds up to 8, which is the true balance day of what yesterday was. So Thursday and Saturday are the 2 balance forms of connection. Wow, that's so cool. So tomorrow and that other day, they're both an 8 day or connected to 8 day. It's just telling you that it's whatever happened yesterday, something amazing because of yesterday will happen today or that day on Saturday. So it's just letting us be aware of Saturday. So a change is coming, and empathic awareness has been opened up, and people are feeling it and noticing it because people are focused on the numbers. And then, but a reaction happened. So change and feeling occurred. Now the change thing is opening up something to a new form of awareness, which would be starting a new beginning, would be starting on Saturday. And what's interesting is that shows that Saturday is the day that we call the day of rest, which would be the 7th day. No one sees it as the 7th day. They try to say Sunday is, but Saturday is the 7th day, the day of rest. So having it be a 1 tomorrow shows that there's a balance of remembrance that Saturday originally was the day of rest. And it always is considered that to the higher form. But we made it a day of busyness rather than the day of rest. So it's going to be a new beginning, new end. And so tomorrow is now coming to pass of that 8. Oh, that's so cool. And eternal day is tomorrow. So it's possible that tonight, since it's a 9, for some people, this is the night where people talk about could be rapture connection. But that doesn't make sense because it's February and it's not December time frame, but it makes sense that it could be February time frame. It's an early form. And it makes sense because this is supposedly the month of love and healing. So I think what's happening is blessings. This is the start of the blessing time frame. That means we have possibly 180 days or 40 days. Yeah, 180 days or whatever is possible. Or of peace, or 40 days of peace, possible of how I look at it. Something important is brewing and ready for all of us. And I'm not trying to define it because I don't want to say what it is or what it isn't because I don't know. And I don't really want it to be anything bad. I just know that it seems very connected to many people's thoughts of what they think it could be. And a lot of people think that maybe it's connected to rapture. Maybe it's connected before the rapture where you get that 40 days or 180 days of peace, or the 40 days of peace time frame, or the time frame of before the rapture. So it seems like this is the time of the change before the peaceful world is ready, or it's ready for the peaceful world to become. And so I'm thinking it's towards the peaceful world of choice. People are choosing their sides now. So the new beginning and the end is everybody's now choosing their side. That's how it seems. Because with all these different numbers being it, 9 isn't necessarily the bad number. It's the reverse of the other number. And most people have noticed that 9 is actually not bad. It's just very powerful. And it's just 3 3s. And 3 3s is not 3 6s. That's different. 3 3s is it's an opening to the deity realm for us. And it's like a key lock 3 times. Now, now, now. It's the manifestation time. This is the time we manifest our dreams. This is the most powerful time we can bring our desired life into being. That's what it seems like it's saying or being. Everything we want is coming to pass. Everything we've been promised is here to come. It's here to be provided. And then it brings us all peace and all help for all of those that focused on that possibility. For all of those open to it, ready for it. We're ascending to our desired reality life. We're being promised our riches, our wealth, our happiness is here to be given. It's all coming to pass. That's what it seems like is going on. And I'm just happy. Like I said, the more I read this, and I wasn't planning this, the more I read this book or the more I tell my story, the more disclosure happens. Anyway, I wanted to give this little information before I read chapter 1. But this is really cool. So, what does that mean 11 is? Because that's where this is going. It's going into 11, and then there was one that was talking about 12. So let's see, what's 11 is... Yeah. So what's really interesting is one of them was talking about 12, and then this one's talking about 12 as well. So 2 3s. Because 174 is for chapter 11, and that adds up to a 3 again. What is chapter 3? My 8 hour, 44 minutes, and 5 seconds sleep recording impossible technically. That is hilarious. Oh my word. That's cool. I put 8, 4, 4, and 5. That's pretty impressive. That's 24. That's the 6. And then the page number is 44. Oh, that's 8. Oh, wow. Wow, 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 wow. Yeah, this month is the manifestation month. So it's basically telling me that I read this during this month and knew that I would. It's synchronizing with me bringing it out and telling people and recording this so that it can be posted. It means that even if I don't post it this month, which is my plan to do my best to post it, it was recorded during this month. Basically, it's saying I did it in the month that was supposed to be done and allowed to be done and meant to happen. And even if you don't believe in it, I'm realizing it because it was supposed to happen for me, for my life path, because I was told by a higher form to do so. So I'm connecting with others that are awakened as well to their own awarenesses to bring up their purpose of why they do what they do. Mine is more focused on manifesting in peace. Everybody else could be doing it to earn funds and earn things. It'd be great if I did, but I'm not really looking. Anything I earn, I want to help others with. I'm going to help me first because I need to help me for my needs. But I want to manifest people their desired rather than people just buying stuff to get me where I want to go. I want to manifest with you so we don't have to just have you buy my stuff or others buy. Let's just do it this way. It's easier and faster, in my opinion. If you want to buy it to have it, go ahead. That's great. To follow along and all of that. Thank you. At the same time, it's not necessary. You're not required to. It's good to have the record, but I'm noticing that there was a purpose for my writing this book, no matter the flaws or weirdness. At this time that I'm bringing it up was meant to happen this way, or has become this way, even if it wasn't meant to, and now is. It's very confusing to some of you, maybe, and to me even, because time loops and all sorts of stuff changed it to be a way of direction for whatever purpose. And my purpose, no matter what the purpose is trying to be, is for peace and for us to focus on peace. And regardless what things are trying to be turned towards by other people, I have the heart to go towards the peace no matter what, and to get others to see how it's important for balance of that. So here we go. So 11, here we go. It's 174, so 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that goes to 3, and then it also goes to 8, and this goes. And on 8, I think 8 was 8, 10? What was page 8? I mean, chapter 8. Chapter 8 was 5 change. Now, what's 5? See, I'm just switching through this real quick, and then we'll read. I'm just trying to see. There's so many things I just noticed now, and I want you all to be aware of it, because there's some purpose to it. I don't think that there's coincidences. I know that there's not. And so the way that I wrote this was written in a purpose, and it's not meant to be Masonic, but I did write 13 chapters, and 13 is a lucky number for Masonic belief people, but I'm not part of that. I just did it to get those individuals of that belief system to pay attention to my book, to wake up, and to do good instead of what they've chosen. And maybe they think they're doing good, and that's on them. So 5 is mind and thought and experiments that have been done. Explained. Oh, my word. And then page 95. That's 4. So that's 5. That's change. Oh, that's so cool. Change. See, it's all connected. See how weird this is? It's awesome. Because 5 means change, from what I've been told. Or new, and it doesn't mean that it's change of bad or good, it's just change. But this is more of a peaceful form of change. Man, this was orchestrated really well done. Whoever helped do this. with me who put these chapters together and pages together in this pattern. Wow. I was inspired, and others made it inspired and put it together in this pattern. Even if it was accidentally done, there is no accidents. It's just everybody's inspired, even if they're doing something that isn't right. They're being inspired for the greater purpose, but it doesn't justify their evil. It's just, regardless whether they do evil or good, it goes towards the full being of peace and healing to get to that peaceful form. So 12. I'm going to get to chapter 12 so we can say what that is. But it seems like everything's adding up to these particular pages that just are these particular numbers. This is impressive. So 12 is 20345. There we go, straight to the point. Change. Again, change. Goes back to 5. Wow. I think we're good. So let's look at 13. What is 13 on? We need to see 13. Hope and overview of my personal feelings and hopes for all. 13 adds up to 4. The page number is 231. So it's a 6. So 13 is a 4 and a 6. Adds up to 10. Saturday is the day of change, everybody. The day of change is Saturday. It just explained it right there. So, obviously, something big is supposed to happen on Saturday. That means tonight, between Friday and Saturday, there's going to be an energy surge of powerful energy of your focus of feelings and emotions and thoughts and creation of change, of the change you will be drawn to. Don't fear it. Don't be worried about it. If you do fear it, I bless you, and if you want to be blessed, healed, you're okay. If it's already happened and it's already occurred and you wish you would have known it sooner, I just figured it out today. I would love to put this recording on as soon as possible. At the same time, I am realizing that it needs to be put together and put on my page at a proper time. But I just noticed that tomorrow is the day of change, or the Saturday is the day of change. I'm probably going to put a posting on Twitter about this today, so that everybody's prepared for tonight. But I don't know if people will really pay attention to this, but when the video gets told, they're going to realize that I knew it before it happened. And I think others are noticing it anyway, so I don't really think we all need to be concerned, whatever it is. But it is something that I am aware of and noticing. And even those that aren't aware of it, they're waking up to it regardless if anybody told them or not. So it's okay. People are seeing it. It's a good focus of people. So for those that are ready for the change or idea, let's get into that. Now, I just thought of something and I don't want to forget it, so I wanted to record it and mention. For those of you who have belief in a deity or a god or whatever, I've heard a few things, and I don't always say it properly or written it properly, and certain things that I've said to certain people. Sometimes I'd say live, or we live, or we're alive, or things like that. I try to say life more than live, but sometimes I'm going to say it without realizing or meaning to, and sometimes I did mean it to, but it doesn't always mean I meant it to. Usually I try not to. And it's not to be sarcastic, it's not to put anybody down. If I say it, I'm saying it because it's what I know the person would recognize of my meaning, that it wasn't meant to be in a negative vibration. It's just working with the sentence the way that it is. But sometimes I also prefer to say in life, it's when I'm on Twitter, when you can only put so many words, sometimes when I'm doing the sentence, I'll put live for what we're told to do. And I prefer to thrive more than to just live. And I prefer to say life. And Eden is need. So I like Eden and need because need and Garden of Eden is a very good form. Also, there's other reasons why I like that word, and it has to do with relatives or other names of people that I know that decided to name someone that's a relative of mine the name Eden. So anyway, I really like the form of that because Eden and need is so important. You need that. You need an Eden. Eden is need. There are words within words. So words and swords. Sword and words. So so when you pray with your words, you're parry with sword. Or you parry hit sword. And that is kind of interesting because many people don't realize how that fits, but that is the way that it was written and done. And the language is a pagan language creation. Whoever created this and put this in this pattern and ended up adding new words like this and created it through the English language, American English language, and other languages, there's a purpose to what is being told and mentioned. So I get very, very focused on doing my best to focus on good forms of energy within whatever words I choose to bring out. But not everything I'm saying is meaning to be meant to be the words that I'm utilizing with other words within it. I don't really focus or am that able to really pay attention to everything that's said. But I've been told the most powerful things you can say for those that are religious and believe in a God or believe in a deity of some form. There are a few sentences that someone sent me in a message on YouTube when I was responding to a video of someone's. And I don't remember where this video is or what it was, but this individual said, this is what you should do. And I think it was on Aaron Doughty's or this guy that believes in awakening your consciousness channel. And I really like him to a degree. I do think that it would be great if I ever met him or the others, if they would be aware of how to meditate with me in the form that I know is important to meditate in, but they don't have to. I just know of an idea that if they were more awakened to that or chose to be aware of it and be willing to do it, they would see amazing things happen. Because I have some huge insights. And now that I'm seeing even more insights happening, but they're seeing amazing insights for themselves. Everybody is for their lifetime, and that's okay. They're following their path. I do know that those that open up to being willing to realize my idea of how to do it, that doesn't mean my idea is the best way to do it. It's just the way that I'm aware of works for me. And it would be nice if others knew how important it was to me and were willing to do it with me in the way that I feel is needed. And I know that it would help. I've done my best to do their way. A lot of them are trying to get me to buy their products and things. I don't need that. What I really need is what I know is freely able to be attained and done. And no one needs to buy my products either. What we need to do is just meditate and become what we are. My product is just there so that my records stay the way that they need to be stayed and put out there. I was inspired to do it. I felt I needed to do it. I felt that putting it as a book would show that I wrote it, and that even people with disabilities can write a book and put it out there and do what's needed. That's why I did it. I wanted to show that even me, even someone that's put down, ignored, and shunned, can still achieve something and tell something that needs to be told. So here is the phrases I was told about healing. I talked about having cancer to them, and then I realized I didn't tell them I healed it by eating organic vegan, because I knew. And then they brought up eat organic vegan and all of this. I'm like, oh wait, no, I already know all that. I already did all that. But then it sounded like I was now just acting like it was already done, as if it wasn't, and it was already. I was already doing those things that they were suggesting me to do, and I think they didn't know that, and I forgive them for not knowing that. That's fine, because I didn't really explain it. I was kind of in a concerned situation at the time, so I think it got confused. But yeah, no, I eat organic vegan and I do all of those things, but I do more than what that individual on that channel was even doing or choosing to do. But I'm doing it in my way that I was drawn to, and they're doing it in their way that they were drawn to. But I'm aware of plastics being not really good, and he was drinking out of a plastic bottle of water that's distilled water. And I am about glass and hydroflask type of containers, because plastic can still put toxins in. And so I'm a little bit more holistic, but not quite as much. There's still other plastic things I use in my life and other things. Plastics are everywhere. Our controllers, our TVs, our computers, our laptops. There's some form of plastic, the keys, the whatever, in everything that you have, unless you have one that's completely metal or completely something. But even the triggers or even the things within it have some form of plastic, but or some form of toxins. And so that's the concern or awareness. Even Hydro Flask and others might have something to them, but at least inside them they keep the temperature and keep certain things with them. And so everything that's now created, we can just recycle everything. Once they break down, we just recycle them and then get a new one. We already have enough now where we can now just use what's already been created. So just hold on to it. So if glass breaks, we just recycle the glass and make new glass containers from that recycled glass. And so it's just reforming it. It's just getting it reformed and reformed and reformed from what's already been created. And then finding other ways that are natural to be prepared when all of those break down. Or if they ever do, if we don't have them anymore, but they've been overused, or they all have disintegrated or deteriorated to the form of deterioration. Also, I'm going to bring up some things that are pretty impressive. What we can do now is we can manifest things into being and create anything out of anything when we get to that point. So what helped me in my process when I was awakening, before I left the church that I was part of, I was still questioning it, still wondering, but I followed what I felt I needed to, that the church wasn't listening to. I knew the church wasn't fully correct, or they were hiding things for whatever purpose, and it was really bothering me that they were ignoring my insight. But they had their reasons, and so I just thought, well, they have their reasons and purposes or agreements, maybe because of laws and things, so I'm going to forgive them. And then later I realized that a lot of the things they were doing were horrible, and it didn't line up, didn't feel right. And then I realized why. They're not really the peaceful religion that I thought they were. Doesn't mean that all their teachings and information doesn't come from some ancient tech forms. It's just it's been altered and controlled rather than fully utilized. And so it scared people away from believing in any religion, and it also controlled the belief in the way that healing can work. And so it is pushing some people away from religion completely. And it's not religion that matters, it's the knowledge of how to heal that matters, and to be there for one another, love and care unconditionally. You don't need religion for that. You just are that energy. Religion was just teaching you, it was an educational teaching, or it was supposed to be, about the ancient ways of becoming the new form that you'll be. And they try to conditionalize it, saying this is what will happen. No, that will only happen if that's what you want to happen. You're not going to be that way if you don't want to be that way. So don't beat yourself up. Even if you do beat yourself up, it's okay. If you really want to be that way, you'll be lifted up and be okay. The ones that have conditioned you this way is not your fault. And you're not to blame for all the cause of all our pains. We just need to acknowledge the pain and find a way to heal it and make amends. And even if we don't make amends, we're going to be okay, and when we finally feel comfortable to do so. But it would be best if you feel like you can, do what you can to do what's right. And if you're not perfect at it, or if you're expected to do it a certain way, don't do it in any way that you can't handle it in, that you don't feel right about it. And you're still okay, because you did your part of what you feel you can. I personally forgive anything that I have done, and I forgive anything that others have done to me, my family or whatever. But I forgive to a point of where I still stay in the safety net of my focus of healing requirements, because I know what my body requires. I know what's needed. And so I stay in areas that bring me that to me. And so when I've done that, there was some teachings that this individual told me or written to me, and I wrote it down, and I kept it for my record of really impressive information. And this information it was very simply put, very powerful. Right now I'm actually looking for it so I can explain it a little bit better for you. But until I do, I'm going to just tell you what I remember it being, because it really doesn't need to be read from it, but it's a very simple form of information. Oh, that's not it. It might be in the other room, but what it is basically, thus far no further is one of the bigger forms of statements that it said on it. So basically, thus far no further, that's one. That is said to push away any evil entities or any evil individuals, or to tell people that are trying to fight with you. And you can say it like in the name of Jesus Christ or in the name of a deity, if you feel you need to. For those that are still belief in religious ideas, or those beings that said you just tell that name, doesn't mean that you're calling a god to you. You're calling a friend. They're not necessarily deities. They're just future us, is the way that I realize possibly about it. But it doesn't necessarily mean that they're future us's either. It just means that they are whatever they are, and we don't need to define them, and they don't really worry whether we define them that way or not. Or at least the one I saw and felt. And that one came in the name of Jesus and was caring and loving and bawled with me and was able to do amazing things like Jesus was said to do. Opened up a portal to a paradise where there was a waterfall. You could hear it, you could know it as it left, but it says, I'm always there with you. I've never left. I've been there since you were younger and beyond. I've always been with you and always shall. You've seen me before and you'll see me again, and you're seeing me now. And it was a very powerful experience that I had in 2017 that helped me cure cancer, and I was told what to do to heal and to let people know the deceit of this world and what's going on with this world so the world can correct itself. And so many people are trying to ally or protect or correct what they've done to gain favor of this being or other beings, and there's really no meaning or reason or purpose to do that. It will help anybody, even if you're an atheist. Basically, that being doesn't care about your belief. It's just, you just say that you love and or yourself and others and be there is good because it gives a good healing energy if that's what you want. The being was of peace and of a focus. I don't know if it had any other feelings or ideas, but it seemed sad with me and loving, but it was a healing sad. It was a, you're awesome and thank you for loving and caring about me and seeing good in me. So it was appreciative of how I would feel and how I felt about it. Like it wasn't trying to be perfect, and it knew that it had its own failures. This being felt loved by me and appreciated by me loving it and caring about it in the way that I want all beings to be cared for. That there's redemption for all that desire the redemption to be feel of peace and not to be hated and not to be misunderstood or put down. And so this being was very caring, and it cares about everybody individually, and it doesn't want people to be damned. It wants everybody to be free, and that we will be. And the being mentioned that they are coming again, that they are coming soon, that there is a time form that is coming. Part of me would hope that tomorrow would be the day, because of all the signs I just mentioned that I've been seeing. Peaceful change. But even if it's not that, I hope it's my dream board reality coming true. Regardless, I'm doing what I know I need to do, and I'm staying true to it, and I'm noticing these powers showing up again. These awarenesses happening. And so this amazing power awareness is so important and so powerful. And so it's just, this being is that came to me, this peaceful. I'm hoping that tomorrow either I manifest my desired life, dreams, or I get what I've always wanted. And it feels like something is coming, or something amazing, change and peace. And I was told I'd be okay regardless. And so I don't know what is going to occur, but it's powerful. And I've seen it, I've witnessed it, and I felt it. And as I talk to you about it, I'm feeling it now. And so I'm going to tell you what I did. I was told by this individual to say, by the grace of God's will, I am healed. By the grace of God's will, I am healed. So when I was a belief in a God or a creation, I was able to say that, and it worked at times. Like I would feel that. But I also tried another statement that I thought of, that this individual didn't think. I would say, I was taught growing up that God will provide. 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 God has provided. God has provided. God has provided. And feeling that 3 times, saying both of those, it helped. But it doesn't matter. Sometimes I said the other and just said, God shall provide, and it was provided. Right away. I didn't even have to say, God has provided. I just said, God shall provide. And then God did. Right after that. Just happened later down the road. I just felt it. I did it with my heart and cries, and it occurred. Someone gave me a free walker that day. Right after I did that, I was walking and someone offered that to me. And I appreciated it. I got 2 walkers now. And this walker had better wheels than the one that I have. And it was something that belonged to a relative of his mother, I think, who passed, and no one else wants it. And then it had a nice particular seat. Now, that walker, when I lifted it up, I did stub my finger, and it did mess with my finger a little bit, but it was okay, because I healed that finger over time, and it was fine. You just tell it, it's healed, and the person that saw me get hurt by that reacted to it, and she freaked out, but she's a peaceful person, and it was at the Theta Wellness Center, and I taught her, we don't need to think and react to those things. We can just say heal, heal, heal. Reacting to the pain, we need to heal. Let's just heal it. Let's just heal it. But they had a business to run. So their business was to heal in their machines and their ideas. So for them, she wants to react to pain so that she can get more businesses, but that's not why she was doing it. She was just doing it in a response of what she was taught to respond in, just like we all are. But she's an amazing spiritual individual when she wants to be. I've seen it. I've felt it. She's powerful. She's the wife of the guy that run the place. And then they weren't following the full teachings of it. They said they were about full healing, but they were more about conditional, but still more healing than most places. So they do heal mostly. I think that they're just trying to keep healing and getting other people to notice the healing, and those that notice it, then they get more people to come that believe that it helped that individual. And so I told as many people as I can go to Theta Wellness because it did help me and it helped many others. And I do that as appreciation for them helping me. And that's what I know they want. That's what I know that business would prefer. They want that. They desire that. They want more business. And since it is a healing business, I think they could do a lot better if they focused on actually fully heartfelt healing, which I think they think they're doing. And they do. But there's times that they get bogged down. And it's because they're not fully healed in their hearts all the time because they're worried and concerned. When we start to forgive our worries and concerns and we start to manifest funds for people, those people will invest because of the funds they received. And Theta Wellness I would invest in because they did a lot for me. And I have given them a pretty good amount of money, I think is fair for what was given to me. But I do plan on giving them more because I do agree with that stuff. But I do think that the approaches they're doing, they could do better approaches. And so can I. But I'm more open to doing it until it's done and not allow it to happen slowly. Just let it happen and let it be done. Let's heal it correctly and let's do it freely. I'm more about freely, they're more about funds, but their funds is so that they can maintain the machines and have the funds to maintain and have a life for themselves. So I don't blame them for wanting to. They want their dreams to be true and they believe this is the way they get it, or this is the way that helps them. But they say they lost a ton of money leaving the profession he was in compared to what this one gives him. But I still think he could do more and they could do more. But I do appreciate their business. If it weren't for them, I wouldn't have gotten the answers that I gotten. But if I didn't have them, I may have gotten it in another way that may have been even more powerful. But it happened the way it happened, and I'm grateful for the knowledge that came from it. And now I'm learning new knowledge and awareness, and we can finally be the fullness that we can be. So another statement that was said was, I am that I am. And many people have heard that, and many people have recordings and other people that bring up, say that to yourself. You are that I am. I am that I am. And no one likes that in the religious belief because they don't want us to claim that we're God and God is us. But it tells us in the ancient texts and teachings that we are all connected to that being. But we should also call upon that being to be able to get to become with that being. And that not all will get there that choose not to, but it's only because their life path isn't open to that awareness or don't like it. But even if they're unopen to that awareness, they still might be that anyway because in their heart they still are. So even if they won't, they do, and it's okay. They don't have to go through more lifetimes and over and over and over. They can just heal it all now, create it all now. And when you start becoming more aware of things, you don't define it as one way or another. You start to see it in multiple ways, and it confuses the crap out of everybody. And it even confused me. But now I've kind of come to the understanding of how it all fits and how to do it. And maybe that's why people don't come and listen to me, because they don't understand what I'm actually saying from the heart. And even those that think they do are choosing not to do the meditation with me because they think they don't need to, when we all should be doing it together. Would be the best to do it, even if it's just to help me. It helps them. And maybe that's why they don't want to be helped, or they don't think they need help, or they don't feel like helping me in that way because they think that people need to be helped in another way. And that's their path of belief. So they're restricting the healing of things because they think it's necessary to. But it doesn't mean that they see it as restricting it. I think they think that they're directing it the right direction they feel is the right direction. And that's their path. That's what they feel they must do. I know that that's not what I choose to, and I know that it's more unconditional than that. And I know people will wake up to it, and I've woken up to it, and it's helped me a ton. And I was told to share it so that others have that choice and that chance. And because of the heartfelt awareness of it, it's a very powerful way of being able to do more and to be more. So now that I've opened up that balance and I've gotten rid of dark energy, and I've gotten rid of worrying about energy that is dark to control me or not, I've allowed myself to be free from any harmful energy that enslaves me and others. And regardless of what control mechanisms still might be around, I'm being free from the emotional control many times. And even when they try to use the tech at me different times, I've awoken to that and I've stopped them in different patterns when they weren't expecting it to happen. And so some are being tricked, like they think that they're more powerful and they're being allowed to be seen as though they are. And then boom, they're going to slip up too. And when someone slips up, they say, okay, well then I'm going to do it because I won't slip up. And then they slip up. They'll question it and be like, okay, something's going on here because I never slip up. And they'll notice it and they'll wake up because that's what's supposed to happen. And so I'm not concerned because I've slipped up tons of times personally. So for me, I know that regardless of whether I slip up or not, I am doing the path of peace and healing. That's my focus. That's my heart. And that's what I hope your heart will be. So anyway, that is something I needed to go over. So I wasn't planning on doing that, but I think it needed to be done before we go into chapter 1. And yes, I will be doing this as the chapter 1 recording because it all went with the book. And I feel like this is where it starts, okay? Because this goes to chapter 12. And it brings up some pretty impressive stuff for 12. So, of bringing up the straight to the point, but it seems like starting yesterday, and yesterday would be 1 day, today would be 2, tomorrow would be 3, Sunday would be 4, and Monday would be number 12, would be 5. And then Tuesday will be number 6. So we're getting to the point, and then Wednesday would be the 7th day. So it seems like things are happening between now and Wednesday. Starting yesterday to go till Wednesday, there is things that are about to occur. And it started a little bit before this, I'm sure, but the awareness happened to me yesterday. And others have waken up and noticed the awareness because we're focused on it. We woke up to it. We saw it. Some people saw it beforehand, but we got drawn to it at that day. Everybody did. So there was a purpose for being drawn to it. Others may have been aware of it before, and then they'll try to take credit for it, and maybe they talked about it before, but they didn't know that that's what they were talking about, but now they realize that's what they're talking about. Or maybe they did know, or they will say they do. Regardless, everything is starting to happen. And I've said this before in other recordings, but this is really something I'm noticing hugely. And I felt like I've noticed this before. So this is the time. This is one of those openings of awareness. So here we go. So this is page 29, and it's a really small chapter, so you don't need to worry too much. And it goes to page 35. Okay? So my experiences and beyond. So Chapter 1. So first, to understand my experiences, how I interpret them, you must first understand me, how I come to see them. So the next thing I was told, so the 3 statements that individual told me in YouTube or when I was commented is, you say, I am that I am. Through the grace of God's will, I am already healed. Or my manifestation has already happened. My desired manifestation, pure life, happiness has happened. Blissful happiness has happened. Whatever phrase you feel is most for your desired well-being has already happened. And that's through the gift of I am's will. You could put I am instead of God. You can put it in whatever phrase that you feel will work. I think there's a purpose for God word, even if you don't believe in necessarily God. You can say universe, but I think the phrase of God has some kind of meaning to it. The words, the letters, and there's words within words. So there's dog and God and go, do. You can add letters to it. Go, do. By the grace of go, do's will, I am healed. I am manifested my life's desired life. So that's why you would say God, because it has go, do, or go something else. Or you could just say through the grace of God's will. You don't have to say God's will, you can say good, because good is just another O in there. So God is good is God. It's just saying that there are words within that word. And so good is what we consider God as. So good is not really a name for a deity or a higher. It's just an energy. So God is just an energy of good. Because that is the name God isn't a name, it's more of an energy of good. It's just the energy of what we feel is good. Whatever is good that we feel is good is God. That's why people say, oh my gee, or oh my goodness, or oh my God, or oh my whatever. They say it because some are saying it and they say, oh, that's saying his name in vain. No, it's saying a phrase in the way that I just said it. I rarely say that, by the way. Saying it in that phrase of meaning is not meant to be a bad meaning. But people have taken it that when people say that, they're saying it bad. But when you say, oh my goodness, God is goodness, God is good, good is God. Good is not an energy named to a being, it's just the energy of what we want a higher form of the unified field to be. It's just saying that everything that's connected that made the Big Bang, whatever you want to describe it as, is what made everything. So if you see yourself as a good individual, or you wish to be good, or you see yourself as good and amazing and awesome and great, that's great, because that's what you are. Because that's what you choose to be. So I am that I am. I am the creational connection. I am literally a past or future or present or in the moment of that form. The moment you are and always shall be. And it's just, they say that a lot in the phrases of the ancient texts, and I think people defined it into belief system to a deity above them, which is not above them, they're within them, and they are them, and everything is. And that's what I've been awakening to and seeing, and I don't know for surety yet until that time comes that we get that explanation. Or we won't need to, because we'll be that explanation. We'll be that being. So we will no longer have to. We'll ascend. When the flash or from the sun or whatever people have said throughout history, they're just getting it from records and other people saying it. Trying to claim that they figured it out and someone told them, when it's really maybe some other being did, but not in the way that they tried to earn profit on, if that's why they're doing it for. But that's okay. That's their path. That's their choice. That's their decision. And they're forgiven, and they'll be brought to a directional path for following that path. And so they'll put in a life path for doing those paths. There's a soul group of them that are all going to come together. I've met many versions of them that I've noticed are those people, have those same personalities. And it's because they feel that they're authentic in that way, but they're not open to more healing and just being in the being and just going, okay, let me pray with you in the way you want to. They're not willing to just relax and just pray and manifest, because they don't feel like they want to. They have to keep moving, and they have to keep saying things in their comfort, and they have a family and people that they love that they are focusing on. When that family and people isn't there in their life, then they're more like me, or they stop worrying about that, and their families start worrying about each other, and they all come together and manifest with me and not worry about one another, and just put judgments aside and let people be, and then focus for those that want to. But it's got to be the ones that are ready for it, and not worrying about what the others choose to do and where they're at. And then when we put worries and concerns and judgments aside, and we just focus on peace and manifestation, everything works amazingly peaceful. I realize that in isolation you learn knowledge. When you meditate a ton and you're isolated for a long time and you focus on finding ways to heal, you get to this knowledge. So me being isolated was a gift, so I can help give this knowledge for people that are ready for it and want it. And then people doubt it, and then they realize, oh my word, he's right. And then they want to use it as their own information when it's really everyone's information for free. And they can get that through me when they get drawn to me. And people try to hide that so that they buy it from them instead of hearing it freely from me. And that keeps them in bondage for doing that to others, and keeping them in bondage instead of getting it freely from me. And so what happens is they think that's the only way to earn their wealth and their desired life is by doing it that way, because that's what their dream is. It's not what their dream is. Their dream is to have what they want to have, and they think this is the way to get it because it's the way they're good at doing it in, or they think is what they're told to do. And it's really more unconditional than that. And once we all do that and we stop trying to profit off of each other and start to manifest for one another, we'll get any profits that are required will just happen from those who have the profits to give it to us. And it will happen in the ways that are more harmonious for us to get it in, rather than in the way of taking it from others. Okay? It will be gifted to us rather than convincing people to buy things. It's really cool. That's what I've woken up to. So anyway, let me go on. So again, this is probably going to be about 2 hours. You must so first, to understand my experience, how I interpret them, you must first understand me and how I come to see them. So yeah, so the YouTube information is just what I was trying to say. To bring it short now, is I was told to say, I am that I am through the grace of God's will, I am healed, or through the grace of God's, you can change that around and put what you want to manifest. The grace of God's, or through the grace of I am's will, I am wealthy, healthy, happy, or something like that. Then you can then do the other form of thus far no further is the other statement that I was told. I think there's a fourth, but I can't remember what that fourth is. But I do know that thus far no further is a powerful statement. Thus far no further in Jesus' name or whatever, or just say thus far no further, is an energy of telling any entity, you can't mess with me anymore. Thus far no further to this control or this enslavement or this problem or these beings messing with me, or this abuse or this sexual trickery or enslavement or mind control. Thus far no further. Thus far no further to the abuse. Thus far no further to the sexual abuse. Thus far no further to the pedophile abuse to me, or to the sickness focuses of another trying to use me as their sex slave, or whatever it is you feel that may have happened to you. That's how you are able to push them off more. I also recommend to do Celtic salt and Himalaya salt, raw Celtic salt as you can, and Himalaya salt. And you can get this at natural grocers and other places. Make sure it's as natural, non-GMO as possible, because the more natural it is, the more raw it is, the more protective you are. But I've noticed that even the bath salt Himalaya is powerful. And then take the regular Himalaya salt with the Celtic salt, as raw as both of those are. And then what you want to do is you want to put that in your drink or shakes or whatever you wanted to dissolve in the water and shake it up, and then you want to put it with your shakes and use it with your shakes and drink it in. Take it in. Or take it in whatever way. Or use the salts on things that you're eating and eat it that way. But they are pretty grainy or big pieces for those, so you may not want to do that. You may want to dissolve it in water or something. But that water is powerful, so the energy with the Celtic and Himalaya when you drink it is important. So I would put it with your water regardless. You can put it with your foods too if you decide to. I would recommend do it with your shakes and your water when you fill. But if you want regular water without salts and things, you can do that too. If you need that to like take down the pressure of the salts. If you just need clear, purified water, that's fine too. Plasma water would probably be good. Plasma water is not blood water. What it is it's electrified water. I've heard Gaia bring it up. I've heard Cosmic Disclosure bring it up. I don't agree with them necessarily as much with some of their teachings, but they're getting it from somewhere. And I witnessed it myself in my own ways. But I do know that they have altered some of the stories to go with their direction of gaining funds for those certain actors that are doing it for them. So I don't agree with everything that they've chosen to do. But I think they're doing it for a purpose that they think is good. But they become a celebrity of fame, of control. And even if they are human, they are being controlled by the race that controls this world more, but they don't think that they are. We all are, okay? Even I have been, and maybe at times, and I've chosen not to follow it when I recognize it and when I can. And so I'm really focused on peace and manifestation, because the more we do that, the more we can break any controls over us. And that's why I promote it so much for you to get a hold of me. And many people say, oh, well, this person's saying it's for free. It is for free. You just call me with your phone. That's the only unfree thing it is you call me with your phone number and my phone number. I have unlimited calling. So if you're calling a Utah number. And if your cell phone lets you do that, and you can call statewide, and it just as part of your service, then you're not paying anything different than what you already are. It'll be free to you because you're already paying so that you can do calls normally. So it's not really a big deal. So for those that can do that, and if you want to email me, you can email me too. I prefer to talk because it's easier. I'll do my best to talk in email, but I'm not good at that. I prefer to talk because it's more powerful that way. And that's how it would work, or seeing each other in person when I can. So blessing me at a distance you can do, and I can bless you at a distance. So if you email me and tell me, please pray for me, please think of me, I'll be like, okay, I'm doing that for you. I'll do that. How do you want me to pray? How do you want me to do that? And then I'll decide whether I can do that way of prayer or not. And if you're trying to tell me to do something that I know might get me into bondage of a controlled religion, I'll say no, I can't do that, but I'll pray in this manner that I don't feel is unsafe for me to do. Is that okay? And if you say yes, or you're not sure, I want to do it in a way that I feel safe and that I know isn't dangerous for me or for you either. And if you don't want it, I'll still think good thoughts of you and vibrations. I still pray for whoever I choose to pray for an unconditional purpose. And I believe that it does good for all. So if you reach out to me, I pray for everybody I talk to or meet. Even if especially if I feel strongly I need to. Doesn't mean I'm going to do the same kind of prayer for everybody as I try. I do it in a way on a case-by-case basis, or listening or meeting each person. I do it for them based on the meeting I have with them. But I do it in a way that is not judging them, regardless of whether they hate me or if we have a fight or a disagreement. I usually don't have any disagreements or fights with anybody. The only ones that I can think that usually happen is family, because family expect more from you than others you don't know. And it's just kind of how it is, because they see that you can do more, but that's just in their perception of what they think. But if they're a conditional family that let you be you, then that's awesome. And don't judge you for being you. And don't think that you're judging for them being them. I used to. But I prefer to be a peaceful form. And those that don't want to do that, then I want them to have the form that they're wanting. But I can't be part of that, because I don't feel comfortable being part of what they're expecting me to be if it's a negative form of being to me. I want to be better, and me being around them makes me more of the negative they think me as, and I don't want to be that. So I have to stay away from that so that I don't be seen that way or feel that way or become the way that their energy is trying to make me become, or wants or thinks of me as, or thinks that I think myself is. All I want is to pray, meditate, and be better. But I don't want them to feel like they can't be there, or that I'm telling them to leave. No, I'm telling that part that wants to do the negative to leave. I would love them to be there unconditionally with me. And if I knew that they were in trouble or anything, I would want to be there if I feel I could. And if I don't be there, it will be for my safety and reasoning based on off of I just don't feel safe being there from the knowledge I know. Doesn't mean I don't love the individual for not going to a baptism or not going to a religious choice of decision. I'm not doing those things because I don't feel safe in those atmospheres. And so I'm not going to let myself be in those atmospheres if I don't feel like I can. It doesn't feel right. In the past, I used to be upset if someone swore at me and stuff. And now I feel that was dumb. I didn't need to do that. I could have just gone and been there for them, regardless of them swearing at me for being aware of something or bringing up something. But them swearing at me and telling me those things helped me know that I don't need to be in the church and I don't need to be part of the church, by them getting me after me for bringing up churchful things that I thought were good. And so I left the church because they never saw me as a church person, even when I promoted good teachings of the church ideas. So it's not really their place to blame. I thank them for those moments because that helped me realize when I was being an ass. And so that I don't apologize for saying because I'm being authentic here. And it's not meant to be mean or to put down, but I was being an ass. As many times I was an ass to my family. And that's kind of a mean phrase to say when it comes to the donkeys, though. I don't want to. I was becoming a human butt. Okay. That's probably a bad visual, but the whole thing is I was being a jerk, and I was being something where I wasn't following my heart. I was being full of shit, and I needed to let it all out. I needed to get it all out of me. So again, many of you are gonna cringe and freak out over it, but I apologize. I have to be completely open about who I am, and maybe I could have done it in a different way, but that's the only way I can think right now. So I do apologize for the visual. At the same time, I'm just letting you know that that's how I felt. It was a very excruciating awareness, and my family may not even think I think that way, but I do. And they may not know what I think about. And until we communicate properly about it, they're never going to know. I've tried telling them, but they don't have the time to hear it. So that's on them. So anyway, and it was on me too. Anyway, that's another visual that I don't mean to put together as. Anyway, so here we go. So I'm going to start with that. So basically the three phrases are I am that I am, or I am the I am, or I am that I am, is what I was told to my remembrance. And then another phrase was through the grace of God's will, I am healed, or through the grace of I am's, that I am's will, I am already provided with wealth, health, happiness. Now is what I added on to it. Because now is one, now, own, and it sounds like the number one spelling, so it's neo and eon, one. Isn't that pretty impressive? And those numbers also are connected to what's about to happen, connected to what Saturday is ready to be. Isn't that powerful? And with it being Saturday, a sitting day, Sat day, it's supposed to be a rest day. And then, do you realize what this means? That Saturday is also a form of the S, and the S is two separate forms of a name. Some people see Satan, some people say Savior, some people say salvation. And so it just depends on what your vibration of belief is, of who you're going to manifest or want manifested in your life. And even if you're focusing on the bad and you don't want the bad, you're not going to get the bad. You're going to get the good. You're not going to get what is being shown. You're going to be protected in the way that you want to be protected in. And it will be more unconditional than you thought it was. And that's what's great about it. It would be better than what you've ever wanted, even if you're afraid. Because you want it to be better, and so because you want it to, you will be. You'll be protected, you'll be provided. So I'm giving you peace of mind on that. Don't worry. It's all going to be fine. So it's very interesting what is coming to pass. And it doesn't mean that it will happen this time. It may not, but it's really interesting how many correlations to my book and this is. It's as if I was meant to bring this all up in this time. And regardless, it now is that way, as though it was, even if it wasn't. So there we go. So again, those are the three phrases. And then thus far, no further is the third phrase. And the third phrase is to help get away any dark or controlled or things you don't want around you. But the Celtic salt and the Himalaya salt help with that, protecting that energy, and it gets away the darkness connected. And when I thought of thus far no further, I got drawn to the ideas of Himalaya salt and Celtic salt. Pretty cool. Around the same time I heard that phrase. And then I used it thinking of that, and that helped with it. And it just amplifies any good energy of healing. And the Celtic salt does things for your full sinuses and every need of healing. And the Himalaya helps your whole spiritual well-being, or your energy well-being, of peace and stuff. So they're a good combination for the physical and the spiritual and the metaphysical. And they protect you and inspire, and it allows goodness beings to show up for you. So cool. So here we go. This might be a long one, but I'll try to keep it short. Here we go. I was raised in a religious faith. So after I said that first sentence on page 29, to start off this chapter, my experiences and beyond, I'm now on the second sentence that says, I was raised. I was raised in a religious faith that believes, that's a good way to keep it, believes we all choose to come here before we were born into bodies. I'm not going to say belief. I'm going to say believes, because to me, I do believe that is not a real thing. And that to me, that is an evil teaching that is conditional and not unconditional. But if it was that way, then belief would be a better word if it is. But I don't feel that it is until I know otherwise. So believes we all chose to come here before we were born into body. I think we do choose to come here, just not in a pre-existence way. So when I was saying that sentence, I was saying as if it was a pre-existence way of belief. And you'd have to look up the Plan of Salvation for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or just do Plan of Salvation for the LDS Church or Mormon Church, and it will bring it up on Wikipedia. And you can read it, and it kind of gives a good depiction, or the last time I saw it, it did. So anyway, but if it doesn't, it gives a description of what they think is what it is. But I don't necessarily agree with whatever description. But I don't disbelieve if it's against the way that they're thinking. I think it has more of a general interpretation of it on Wikipedia. I think that's something that you should look at and be aware of. So everybody has their opinion about it, though. So we started off as spirits. Yep. Or I've been told intelligences. I've been told other things. So just we're intelligences. So it doesn't necessarily mean spirits. It was energy of intelligence or energy of God. They're trying to keep it very cryptic because they don't want to define what it is until it's definable when the being explains it. And even if they do, they say that they could be wrong because they're fallible, because they're not perfect. That's how they get away with saying false things, is they say it is or it isn't. And I don't claim to know what anything is anyway anymore. So I did learn one thing from them. I don't try to claim what is or what isn't, but I do go by what I feel is right. And if I find out it's wrong, I adapt and change. So they say they do that, but they do it a lot less than I do. They're doing it when they have to. I'm doing it when I notice that it matters. I'm doing it differently than what they do. I do what I feel is right when I know it's affecting others and myself. And I change it. I don't just allow myself to suffer in it or to think that there's a purpose to it, unless I feel that it's helping a situation that needs to be helped. Then I might be patient with it until I feel I have no more patience. And then I will do what's needed, because it's not right to have it drag on for so long if you can do something about it. So that's how I look at things now. So we started off as spirits, and that we are the angels that scriptures teach, but many people have translated the Bible incorrectly. But the fact is that the King James Version is the most correct scriptures, but even then it's not fully translated, and that we are only given right now what we should read and learn to understand through institute and religious study to prepare for when Christ comes again for the second coming. Basically, what others call the rapture, but which I've been taught is called a thief in the night. Yep, they teach you the difference between it. So similar but different, and that half the people will be taken and half won't be due to wickedness. So when Christ comes, he will tell us all things. That's pretty impressive. Here we go. That I was told in the spiritual experience that Christ and other beings are coming. It's not just going to be Christ, it's going to be many other deities that all did exist that people would be comfortable seeing, that will help explain what really is going on, because they need to hear it from their deity. And so they're going to have a form of deity that created that deity or individual that started that story to explain it. And so that they can make amends for any deception or problem that caused and turned into religions, if that's the case. It's basically all the bases are covered. Is a sports term, and that's for like baseball term, or other forms of bases and game bases and whatever you want to call it. All the bases are covered. There are many games that have bases in them. So all the goals are covered. All the requirements are covered. All the completed tasks or protection of areas so that they don't get taken over are covered. And anybody that does, they get freed. And they cover their bases, so if one gets taken, another will make up for that being taken and free them, or whatever will happen. It's just everybody is doing their part, and they're all going to be fine. So also I was brought up to believe Christ loves us and that we are in fact brothers and sisters. I realize that we're multiple connection of awarenesses to that being. We're not necessarily brothers and sisters. Maybe in some timeline and realm we are, but not really. We're all just all part of the same energy. So however you want to look at it. I will explain more of this in the religious terminology chapter later. For now, I thought from its teachings ever since I was young that God trusts children before they are of age accountability, which is age 8. That we are all still learning, and if we die before we are 8, regardless of religion of race, that we will automatically go to heaven. That we will go straight to the highest celestial kingdom automatically. That's what I believed and was brought up to believe. Yeah, I was taught to focus and see it that way, that if you get to the age of 8, then now you're accountable if you get baptized. If you choose not to be baptized, you're accountable because now you're 8 anyway. And so anytime before you were 8, 7 before, you're okay. But if you die before the age of 8, then it seems like that is more understandable, as you'll get to the highest kingdom or the highest realm of heaven, because you didn't know any better. You were just following what you thought was what you felt was not bad or good. You just figured you would just do that. So those children, they're not at the time of being accountable or a time of accountability and or of age. So their idea of age is 8, but not really of age. When you become an age of accountability, that's different than becoming of age. Becoming of age to them in a dating form or what do you call it? Your desires start to kick in, your adolescent times. You start to get feelings of desire. Someone manifests this for me to say it. Puberty, there we go. See, it works. I just thought of it because I asked you to manifest it for me. See, manifestation works. Puberty. So puberty time frame. So the puberty time frame creates the reality. So I'm teaching you right now that you can manifest things. You just did it. So we can all manifest through our thoughts and feelings when we think it's important. Many of you already knew this, the ones that helped me do it, but any of you thinking that someone else manifested it, if you were thinking it, you were doing a group manifesting with others that were doing it, that have listened to this throughout time and space. So we can manifest our realities. Calling me and talking to me proves it. Okay? So there we go. See, that's so cool. Like I said, we're in the time of change. The more I speak, the more I give my wisdom, the more reality starts to shape itself. It doesn't matter how many of us is, just 2 of us can make this. But it's good when there's more. And so it sounds like there's more. So that, even if it's 2, great. And then if it's just 2 of us, just think how more powerful with more people it is. And beings. I'm just telling you. This is the wisdom that I'm letting you be aware of. Oh, it's so cool. Many of you already knew this, but many of you that didn't know this, now you know how powerful it really is. Plus, I have a lot of Himalaya salt and other things around me that have been protecting me to be able to do this with it, and it's getting me ready for that time. Oh, man. So now after we become 8 years of age, we are now accountable for what we do after baptism. If we still or do anything illegal or sin, that we must repent, or what we do after baptism, if we still do anything illegal or sin, that we must repent if, and I meant of, I think, of, we do not, or repent, we must repent. If we do not, oh, no, never mind, it's not of. So that was supposed to have a comma there after repent. And then it says, if we do not, then Christ, or whatever abbreviation is needed. I'm not really good at that. But if we do not, then Christ can't suffer for us fully. He still does, but that's what we are taught. But when everyone perceives what I am saying differently based on what they were taught in their wards or what they heard from prophets and everything. And when I say everything, from your religious faith, from your religious value system, from your culture, from whatever you were taught, nature, nurture. I understand that because I was in therapy learning, and that was part of my development of learning. Even though I didn't fully finish, I already learned enough that I needed to. And then I would have learned more, but I had to go get help taken care of. And if I never did that, I never would have learned all these other things that I learned. So I learned enough that helped me. And it doesn't mean that learning more wouldn't have helped. I probably would have been excelled even further. Been pretty impressive. But we'll never really know. And if we do know, this is the right path for me. And I'm okay with what I am. And I can become more when I'm ready to become more. Maybe I'll learn more. But I think I've learned enough. I don't feel like I need to learn enough more, other than let's just manifest and create, and then I'll follow what other inspiration tells me to learn. So there we go. Okay, so here we go. So if we still or do anything illegal or sin, then we must repent. If we do not, then Christ can't suffer for us fully. He still does, but that's what we are taught. But then everyone perceives what I am saying differently based on what they were taught in their wards or what they heard from prophets and everything. I'm a very thorough person. I'm aware that everybody thinks differently than others. My family taught me that. That's the one good thing I learned from my family. They know that it's not this way or that way, blah, blah, blah. And so we all learned all of that. But I'm focusing on a peaceful, let's find a solution of healing and manifesting. And let's not just keep questioning everything. Let's just do everything that we know we need to do. Questioning everything is still good to me if you're questioning it in the right pattern and not being stuck in it. And I was stuck in it, and now I'm not. So I feel great. So everyone that is choosing the wrong choice will be forgiven and given the choice once they understand what to accept. That I was told too. So those who don't get a chance in this life to accept the gospel will be given a chance in the next life. But it will be harder, is what I was told. Those who were worthy to get married and be sealed to someone but never get the chance will be given the chance in heaven. Those who never get to raise their children they had here on earth will be given the chance in heaven. I will tell more on this in the religion section. I bring it up in this because that's what I grew up believing. And so due to that, I saw and noticed experiences that are similar or followed along with my understanding why we are here. As I write some of these things, there are times I hear humming of ship or connections to UFOs. And I'm going to call them, instead of UFOs, let's call them ETVs. They vacate the extraterrestrial vehicles. And extraterrestrial just means anything that is not of this realm or is of this realm. And they're not just ETEs, they're extraterrestrial vehicles, but then they're HETs. Let's call HETs are humanoid extraterrestrials. That means they are those that are among us. That could be AI, artificial intelligence that was created from the same knowledge connection, and all sorts of forms. Even our own form of AI that someone just did without knowing the other, but it still came from technology to know that it's possible. So it originated from where these technologies were first made from. So regardless, each HETs happen from another force of time travel and speed of light travel and dimensional travel and Mandela effect travel and all sorts of forms of verbiages. I have a friend, or I consider them friend, and their friend, or another person I respect, even though I don't know him, with his idea of a petition I agree with. And I'll put that on my Twitter at Durbage Samuel. After I post all these videos, I'll put that on there and let it be known. I hear humming of a ship or connection to UFOs, and inspiration affect this. And then as I think this, things start to happen around me that distract that idea. So as I was little, there are memories I remember vaguely, almost like they could be dreams, but as if they were encounters of a spiritual experience. Yeah, so when I was writing this, I'd had weird things show up and things monitoring me, and I don't know if they were good or bad or just messing with me or distracting me purposely. But I think they were getting me to a point of realization. And I think now I can focus and say what needs to be said more than I could back then. I don't really feel distractions as much as I do, but the human forms have tried, but they weren't as amazing as these other forms that were in power at the time for whatever purpose or whatever focus. But now I think I'm protected by a higher form, so any evil form of them, they're coming and they've been healed and they're good forms now. So if they still are around, they're not really doing the humming and doing those things as much. They're doing more healing and realization that we need to manifest. People are waking up, and even they were, and they've been healed or died off and reborn in the form that they've hoped to be reborn in. And so now they're their peaceful form is what I'm hoping for. And if not, we'll make it so. Because that's what a lot of them want. Those that don't want it, they'll get what they want. Those that want what they want, the peace and becoming, they already are, even if they didn't think that they were. And if not, then they're at rest. I'm just want them to be as peaceful in whatever form they can be peaceful in. So there we go. And that's what I think has happened. I've noticed a lot of changes feeling, or people trying to make us feel that way. But regardless, things are breaking down, changing, and becoming better. And they made it happen. They helped it happen. So even if they didn't mean to, And I'm grateful for those that did mean to, that knew that a peaceful way and world is the best. So thank you for those that chose that. So first is I was little and we had a sliding glass door that could open and close. And there are times I did dream of an owl out on the tree in the front yard, but then the back porch where the sliding glass door is, which is by the kitchen, and then a room that has carpeted wall seats that have a U table for the whole family. My experiences ended up being in those places the most. First, I noticed that in class at church, they asked if you had one wish to ask God and Christ, and since I am a child, He provides this. What would you ask? And He will give it. For to children, He gives those gifts freely, since we are pure of heart. So my thought was seeing him by the glass sliding door, just on the porch. Me looking at Christ and saying, "I want to redo my life, become a baby again, live life again, to go through it again. Hopefully, to redo any wrongs I do, or mostly to just live life again." I did have that belief back then when I was little, so part of me felt that maybe that's happened. And I think it's happened multiple times and reverse. But it doesn't need to happen anymore. All we need to do is manifest reality for the future. I don't require that anymore because I'm at that perfect time of what I know myself wanted. But if it's not, then it will occur until it does. But it would be better to happen faster than what has been allowed, because the sooner we do it for the peaceful way of managing it, creating it, will correct it. The more delays, the more peaceful it becomes. But delays don't need to be. We need it faster than delaying it. But it's still going to be peaceful immensely more than it ever has been, and it will always be even better than that. It's always going to be the peaceful way that it can, regardless. So it's going to be amazing, and you'll be able to handle it fine, in the way that you're ready for. So it's really kind of cool. So again, hopefully to redo any wrongs I do, or mostly to just live life again. And I said live there. I would say to not live, but to have life again, or to experience it again would probably be a better word, because evil lifestyle is not what is needed anymore. It's a peaceful lifestyle, blissful, to just be life again and have a belief life again. For those that want that evil life again and want life to be evil and form in that pain, that's on you. I don't want that anymore. And that's not what I thought I was meaning, but that's what it happened to be, and that's not what I really was wanting. So words do matter, but it's the expressions of the feelings of those words that matter. It's not really the words or the phrases and the way you say it. It's the way that the energy of meaning is defined by people. So once you understand the hearts of people rather than the words they're saying, it's stronger. So I had to let that be known. I have great insight, by the way. So regardless how long this recording has been or will be, this is really important, heartfelt stuff. And I'm not doing anything more than following my heart. Now I would say I want to finish and be in the highest kingdom and live forever. I would say evil forever, no. And life forever, like him. So basically an eternal being, becoming more and more and more. of what is whatever is peaceful. I kind of feel that way, but not the celestial part. I think the celestial is just a definition of a high, powerful place, but they've defined it as a conditional realm, that there's that in other realms. But can you progress out of those other realms? No one really says you can or can't. Some prophets have said you can't. Some say you can because you wouldn't want to, but you'll be provided it. I think it's going to be based on a case-by-case basis, a person-to-person or being-to-being basis when they're ready. And I think it'll be a choice that you just need to make. And it'll happen if you want it to be. But some won't want to be in the same heavenly realm as another, so they'll have to have their own form of celestial level that they can handle being in, that is separate from those that don't want them to be with them because of the thoughts and feelings and issues that you've all affected each other in. But that just causes us all in pain forever. So I don't like the three kingdom idea. I think it will be whatever realm you want to be, and you'll be with the peaceful people that want to be. Yes, we'll visit each other and we'll be able to, and we'll handle each other. Most people won't want to, is what they say, but I think you'll be fine, and it won't affect you, and you won't be trapped for visiting. You'll get back to your place, and it won't put down your power or your ability, and you won't have to glow lighter to be part of it. That's actually an email I have. But anyway, for those that know that, that's not the email I use for people to contact me. But anyway, again, as a child, but you can, if you figure out that awareness. But I'll ask you to please email me on the other email if those find that out. But I use that as my general email for personal information and for using for companies and for things I contact for government or other things. That is more of a general email, but I have other emails too as backups. I cover my bases, but I do what I need to do for a peaceful kingdom is what is coming. So we won't really need those as much, and it won't matter as much. But they'll still be useful if they're still around. I said, so, well, now I would say I want to finish and be in the highest kingdom or the best kingdom for me, and then get to what I feel is the most powerful I can be until I'm ready to be even more powerful. That's how I look at it now. But as a child, I said I wanted to be literally to be born again as a child, not the religion, but actually being born and grown up again. But now the next thing I remember is where the kitchen U-table is. I remember being concerned of one idea. But I've already done that enough, and I think if I realized as a child and knew that I've gone through it too much, I would say I don't want that anymore. We need the right focus now. But I saw a spirit talking to me one night as I got out of bed, and this is when I was a child, and the spirit spoke to me. It was like the spirit had my image of me, but a little older, but teenage-like. Then I always thought that was me receiving my spirit, maybe, or seeing myself. Never knew what that was, but I do remember I did have dreams as a little boy of owls. Yeah, and a lot of people did that have been abducted in the programs or whatever have seen images of owls, but I didn't know that. I found this out later when I looked up information on Alaska in 2015. I found information on it. And I remember kind of stumbling upon it throughout life, but I didn't really focus on it as much. But people were trying to awaken me to realize it. But I had to see my own way to finally catch on to it. Not in the way others were trying to hint it to me. And I think those that tried to hint it to me may have been irritated that they've tried so hard to hint it and it wasn't working. That's because you got to flat out show me and tell me, but they couldn't flat out show me and tell me because they wouldn't be able to tell me because they were telling me in the way they felt they could, but it wasn't in the way I would understand it or accept it in because I thought they were nuts. in whatever way they did, because I was more focused on something that I was told to do by my parents or family, and they were also candy coating it to a degree of hiding why they were telling me or what they felt, because I think they were doing it in fear. And when we don't do it in fear and we open up and we're open, then we can free the fear from us. And that's my path and that's my choice. And I hope others are doing the same that know. I think my family knows, and because some of them were the ones that made my awareness of it. And I think they were aware of it. And I think the higher form was telling them or inviting them to see and be for my awareness of it later. Because maybe I'm a future them or they're a future me, and they're waking up and they'll wake up now. I prefer to be the future, but I think we're all kind of connected, interconnected regardless. I just want peace for us all. Let's heal, regardless whose future paths. Let's just do it. Let's have our happiness for all our lifetime. No pain for any of us anymore. Pain is done. Let's now bring in the happiness. So here we go. On page 31. Again, this goes to page 35. Yeah. So this will probably be 3 hours. I did have weird experiences. I had a leg surgery as a boy. It might be under 3 hours, actually, as a boy, and foot surgery on my left foot and left leg. I also broke bones a lot growing up due to my genetic breaking bones issue, but it's not calcium deficiency or anything. I just had bones that broke easily. Actually, it had to deal with pollution and connection to it. I did take thyroid chewable medicine. I also am allergic to penicillin and also threw up when taking any sulfur products also. So anything connected to penicillin, I'm highly allergic, or sulfur products. I was told if I got a shot, I could die, but I'm allergic to any medicine because medicines are just chemicals. And that's something I realize now. From that, because I got rashes and colds and they'd last a month, and not just ingesting, but breathing in and touching it. Plus, I can't even eat any of the GMO foods anymore. I throw it all up and get sick from it. And I've heard other people say the same thing. We all need healthy food now. We can't go for the other anymore. And so it was really cool to hear someone else having the same awareness that I heard on Facebook. And maybe they were just trying to bond with me, but they got to reach out to me if they're ready to reach out. And I would reach out to them if I knew they wanted me to. We would talk. I do want them to meditate, and I would like them to call and to be there with me in meditation. And I hope they hear this and get drawn to this one day. But those that feel the same, let's do this. Because it's really cool when I get bonded to someone that is bonded and not faking it. If you're faking it, I'll figure you out eventually. But any good energy that I feel is genuine, or I feel is genuine, even if it's a fake genuine feeling of it, you've allowed the growth to happen, the power to heal. And then you will be healed because you agreed to do a part of it, even if you think you're faking it. It's going to help you and it's going to correct you. And I'm happy for that too. So I do avoid all of those things. Now, I also learned to realize I'm allergic to chlorine or in water, swimming pools. Well, chlorine is a chemical weapon anyway. I figured that out. It's considered a chemical weapon. Well, same thing would happen, and I would get rashes, and I'd get sick for weeks, sometimes a month, so I couldn't swim well above water. Yeah, still stay away from that. I prefer saltwater pools, and it would be great if the saltwater pools were Himalaya Celtic salt or whatever doesn't grow more salt, but just, good, powerful energy salts connection. That would be cool. Now I have learned that both chloride and fluoride, similar to toxins, are in water, and it's difficult to filter these out. So now I can't even shower or wash hands when I just learned by the end of writing this book that chloride is in just about all products we use, even table salt. So kosher salt is better for me. I would say even more than kosher would be Celtic salt and Himalaya salt. Best salt ever. Those are what I eat and do now. I also dealt with going to doctors for my back, having scoliosis, and had to have back surgery when I was 13. Oh, also sea salt is a close second to those two, as long as it's true sea salt. Well, because it's in the water, sea connection, it's just as powerful to me. But I was 13, okay, and so when I had back surgery, when I was 13, well, I did, and that's when the next spiritual experience occurred. So I did have a spiritual experience back then. I had an experience that I felt I'd die, but then after having a spiritual blessing, I had things come into my mind of scriptures. If I die, I die unto God. If I lived, I live unto Him. So I still feel that if I die, I'll be in a peaceful place, and I'll do it for what I want, and I'll be okay. If I survive or I thrive, it will be because of the grace of my choice of manifesting in love of others. And if I die, I'll be fine, and I'll be brought back in a more powerful way, and I'll have the life I want as a powerful being. And that's what will be awesome. It'll be me in the same form with someone else in their purest form. And regardless if we meet before we become our purest forms, that'll be awesome too. And then we'll be even purer forms anyway, no matter when we both die. But if we're not meant to be for afterlife, we'll have someone that fits with us in that next realm of being that will be another form of them that fits with us for that being. It's a very confusing way of putting this, but I don't know how it's going to be, but it's multiple lifetimes possibly. Even in the other realms, there are multiple combination lifetimes for that lifetime. So it'll be the best lifetime of that, of what our form is right now, and what the form I want to be in the other lifetimes will be similar feeling. So I could keep going for this form and all forms that I become for this form of life. Will be multiple lives, multiple alternative of this life, be in the different alternative realms. So there are more Sams of this Sam in the other realms. That is me, and I will be, because that's how it's going to be. And then whatever the full form of us all is everyone, not just more forms of us. And that will be interesting, whatever that is. I'm sure it is love. But we're still going to be us and always be us, is how I see it. And that's what I was told and felt in my experience in 2007. So when I woke up after my surgery, this is on page 32 at the top, my favorite aunt and uncle showed up at the time. They were my favorite aunt and uncle. I still appreciate them because they always came around when I needed and felt and was loved and appreciated by them for what I was at the time. And I really saw a lot of good in them. At least they were their best behavior around me that I could see. And I didn't always bond with them, but they were pretty chill with me. They were being them, what they felt they needed to. Maybe they weren't being their full them, but they were being enough them that I felt was a good them to remember. So I still love them no matter what. They're ones that I still hold to. I don't have any bad thoughts about. I never had bad experiences with them. And so I really respect them. But those that I have bad experiences probably feel jealous of them, because maybe they didn't ever want to have bad experiences with me, but they never tried to do anything bad. And even those that think of me or see me, it's okay. So anyway, uncles showed up as I woke, and they looked like angels. So at first I thought I was dead, but then I noticed I couldn't talk. But that's interesting, as I got out of the ICU in one day. that never happened to anyone before. I was so sweet-natured. The first surgery that I cared, the second surgery I had because the screw they put in got loose. They had to go in and take it out and put hooks to connect the rods instead. So they did. Now, why am I explaining about the back surgery and things that I went through? Because they're there, and we can heal them and make them so that they no longer have to be there or become part of the bones and change from what they were into something else if that's possible. But then part of me would wonder, what if they revert back? So let's just heal the bones and take out any of the wrong forms and put it where it needs to go with its form, is how I feel right now I can focus on. That's the way it needs to be, or we can have it. That's the way I see it safe as, of healing it in that pattern. I was so that the metal can be with metal, and the bone that actually is bone can be with bone with me. Because that's the form that it was. I wanted to go back to where it was meant to, unless it asks, and I know it wants to be the other. I just don't want it to turn and revert back to what it already was. And if it needs to, then it needs to come out and go. I just don't want to delay that process. So I care for its way of being, for whatever purpose it was for. So I couldn't talk when I saw them. So I woke and they looked like angels. So at first I thought I was dead, but then I noticed I couldn't talk. But that's interesting, as I got out of the ICU in one day. That never happened to anyone before, is what they told me. I was so sweet-natured the first surgery, at least at that hospital. I'm sure many of you or others that read, maybe it's happened to you or you've heard it happen to someone else. But yeah, it happened in one day I got out. That the first surgery that I cared, the second surgery I had, because the screw they put in got loose, they had to go in and take it out and put hooks to connect the rods instead, so they did. Yeah, I complained a lot on that one. The second surgery I complained more than the first one. First one I was more traumatic than the other. The second surgery I just didn't like the fact that we had to do another one. And so I was peaceful and amazing the first time. The second time I was just tired of everything, and it got to me. And I was young, and I was being myself. But I feel bad that I acted in the way that I did. But I can't say that I wouldn't act that way again. I might. I would try not to. I would want to do whatever I felt needed to be good and focused on. I think we don't need surgeries and things anymore. We should just be manifesting. And so if I was put into that, I probably wouldn't want it. And I would talk people's ear off about how we should manifest and do things. Because it can happen. We can manifest. Here we go. I have had so many surgeries and things in life that I had to hold to some belief system. So believing in miracles and having faith came easy when you had everything to lose at such a young age. So for me, and there's some that died even before 13, others even babies. So we need to remember them and remember that we can bring life back. But those that died, it's fine. They're just going to be reborn in a new form. But they came for a purpose. Some people say they came for a body or just to try to help, and then they didn't want to be, and they chose to be somewhere else instead. Or they got reborn as a new person in a new family because of natural selection, or because of controlled programs, or both. I think it's both. So for me, and multiple reasons. So for me, that's how life was. Couldn't play sports, couldn't do lots of things, because when I did, I'd break something. And due to the back surgery, that stopped me from lifting also. So then I chose to go to college and do a service mission. Well, that's when I was 19 years old. Another experience happened. I also worked at Bowman's grocery store. I wanted to understand why the devil himself, also being our brother, which I was taught is who he would be or considered as, who chose the wrong plan to force all of us to do good in order for him to get all power and glory, and not to give unto God and us to make it so when we were saved and could still be in heaven forever. Yeah, so basically, I'm talking about the plan where Satan wanted, the way that I was told it and understood it as, from my mom or from others, parents, and they changed it around and they alter it in history back and forth, and then they say, "Oh, I never said that," but I remember them saying it. I have a selective photographic memory, so this is what I remember hearing it. Basically, the plan of salvation, or the idea that there was two plans presented. God's plan. Christ chose to adhere to God's plan. Satan chose to say, let's do my plan instead. And most people interpret it as if two plans were offered. God allowed the other plan to be offered. But no, God was saying we should do my plan and follow my plan, and that's best. I know best. Let's do that. Who will choose to do this? Well, Satan then said, well, how about we do this way, and I get all the glory, and I get all the free stuff. And that's what they say was said of the plan. And that's what they're taking from ancient texts and things too, I think, where they're altering and making a story that isn't even real. But they're making it as though it is in their perception of how to look at it as. But it wasn't that way. But there may have been forms of that way that happened in other time realities. So that's the reality they want to be the real reality, to manifest that reality to be. They're using the law of attraction to make that the reality. And the reality is it doesn't need to be that. It's more unconditional than that, but they want it to be that way. And that's what they're trying to manifest destiny in, and for them. And for those that want that, you're going to go to that realm and be part of that. But that realm is a small pocket dimension realm. It's not the best realm, if it is even real. And I don't think everybody's going to want to be that. There might be one or a couple people that go there and then they get bored of it, and then we're all going to come here anyway, to the best realm, whatever that is, even more than any of us can fathom, and when we're ready for that. And that's what I'm aware of. And so basically what they're trying to do is create a story to be real by getting people to believe a false representation of it that they say is the real truth. And it's just a controlled system. And what is happening that's interesting is a plan was represented that where Satan was said to have, or Lucifer, or the adversary, whoever you want to call that being, was said to be told to bring a plan where we all are forced to do good and not to do bad. And it's interesting that the church wants us all to be forced to do it, and they have programs, disciplinary committees for not doing good, and we get disciplined and we have these things happen to it, and they blame it on Satan, but they're the ones that agreed to those programs to happen. So they are the Satans. The Zionists are Satanists. That's what they are, that particular form of belief. But then they believe that Satan will be forgiven. Of course, everyone will be forgiven, but you don't have to go that direction to make it happen that way. We can do a different direction of peaceful, healing manifestation, but you've been conditioned and you've been indoctrinated to think that that's the way it was, and so was I, but now I freed myself. My heart felt like change dissolved off it in my brain, and I became clear and aware and peaceful, and now I follow what I know is right. And they want to stop that, and they want to go against that. And that's where the war is. And that's why I think people that say they've talked to Grays in Area 51, if that's the case, if they grew them themselves, I think there was some form of that came to them and talked to them, and that's how they learned how to grow. These ones told that the problem of what happens to us is because of religious dogma. And that sounds pretty accurate, but we shouldn't fight. It's more of my religion is the only true religion idea is what they try to do, and all the religions are saying in that form, but it's really about peace and healing, not about following what religion is right or wrong. It's about being peaceful to all religions and all people and all societies and all choices for everyone. That's what we're meant to do. But that is your choice, and you have the right to choose your path, even if you disagree with what I'm realizing and have realized and mentioned. It's okay. You go your path, I go mine. I'll do what I feel is right for me. You do what's right for you. Okay? It's what's helped me, and that's the path I'm on. But I do know that it's going to be okay, and we're all going to realize it. That's my dream. That's my desire. That's my awareness. And if not, and I die, and there is no afterlife, and there is nothing, great, then I can rest. Then I don't have to worry about all this stuff anymore. And I don't anyway, as much. I choose to do what I want when I want. But I follow what I feel is more happier and more enjoyable. I do feel bad for any desire of bad I would and being pushed and desired to do. But I'm doing my best to not follow that fullness of it because it's just too dark. It's too evil. There's too much temptation of games to do evil and to do bad. And we want that energy of bad, and the bad wants us to want that energy. And we really are part of the bad and the good. And it's what we choose and desire to have that will make us be the fullness. So it's okay if you feel that the bad is there, but I just don't want to cause other realms to be affected. But I do get pulled by a feeling of desire to do things that are dark or desiring in a game for money and funds. But I really prefer to have the peaceful, and I'm holding to that peaceful awareness. But if I feel like I want to do something, I'm going to do it. Just to see where it goes. Just to get the answer and the awareness of it. It does take a lot of effort from me, but I'll do what I feel I need to do or what I feel is okay. But I prefer the good over the bad. I want people to think goodly of me so that I can go strive towards the good and healing and not be affected by the bad that's there. Because I want healing and I want manifesting, I want happiness with someone. They make the bad seem so appealing and so awesome and so easier than doing the good. And that's what we've been taught to believe and to desire that more than the other. When it's really, we just want what gets us what we want faster, no matter what we do to get it. And that is what I don't agree with. I don't like that they've orchestrated games and things that way. Okay. So here we go. So I have had so many surgeries and things in life. And this is on page 32. It's the first paragraph or second paragraph there. Because it ends, the first one, or the top of it says woke up. We'll go to the next paragraph. It says I have had on page 32. I have had so many surgeries and things in life that I had to hold to some belief. So believing in miracles and having faith came easy when you had everything to lose at such a young age. So for me, that's how life was. Couldn't play sports, couldn't do lots of things because when I did, I'd break something, and due to the back surgery that stopped me from lifting also. So when I chose to go to college, work, and do a service mission, well, that's when I was 19. Another experience happened. So that's where we're at now. So I wanted to understand why the devil himself, also being our brother, who chose the wrong plan to force all of us to do good in order for him to get all power and glory, and not to give unto God and us to make it so we all were saved, we could still be in heaven forever. So being in heaven forever, all of that. I broke a lot of bones. I broke 13 bones my first year of life and other things as well. But yeah, at this time, I had a spiritual experience, and that I thought was a spiritual experience. And it got me to realize awareness. And so I asked, and then I felt like I woke up in possibly a spaceship, but I thought it was heavenly realm, but it may have been inner earth. It may have been anywhere. I don't know. But these beings have black hair that were, one was a little child and it ran away from me. So maybe it was a hybrid of grays, maybe something else. I don't know what it was. Maybe they were humans trying to make me see what they wanted me to see. And it was totally different than what I was in. Don't know. Maybe it was multiple realms at once. And so I was in the multiple realms, in the realm of one way, and then seeing other realm and seeing the future of another lifetime, or seeing multiple lifetimes at once. It's possible I was at the time I had that experience. So he wanted all of us to be saved, and then he becomes ruler. And I wondered, after he was cast out, he was sent to earth to dwell, then sent to his spirit prison of some sort to test and try us still, and that after that he would be sent to outer darkness after all of us are judged. But first he has to tempt and try us on earth, for that is the plan that we have, to choose good from the evil. That was God's plan, that Christ followed, that we would choose what we chose to believe while on earth, and so us that followed Christ were given our bodies. So even when we die, since we all chose to follow his plan and have bodies, we all will be resurrected for sure. While thinking this, understanding came to thought while I was lying in bed, that I know I would have told Satan, mine and your brother in heaven, in pre-existence, why would you do this? Why would you want to cause evil? Why would you choose to harm me and make me and others be tempted to do evil? Yeah, I wondered that. Why would you encourage carnage and cause us to hate others and cause us to want us to hurt others? And why, well, as I did that and tried to ask him right then, first praying and telling God, I am going to do something stupid, protect me, please. There we go. Well, God, being a caring father, and Christ, a protecting, comforting brother, I believed, let this happen. I asked, and as I did, my room darkened. It got darker and darker, and then I didn't hear, but I felt anger, envious, and power so strong of suffering and frustration at me for asking him. I asked Satan, why would you do this? I'd show you love. Why would you not listen to me? I would have tried talking to you. I would have said, hey buddy, change your ways and God will forgive you. I would have fought for that. I believe in good and I believe in total forgiveness, but it's up to us to ask for it and to allow it. So I did this, and then I was bound and right. When I said another why, I got the question I knew he would answer. Then it slipped out of my mind, either by God or by something where I knew I'd get the answer. But it slipped, and then I was frozen on my side in my bed, not being able to move and barely able to breathe. I called unto God and cast Satan away by saying, as a child of God, I command you to go. Didn't work, so I tried again. As a child of God and as a Melchizedek priesthood holder, I command you to get thee hence behind me, Satan. Still didn't work, and it got darker. I felt tingle on my shoulder of sorrow and darkness and anger, and then couldn't utter a word or breathe. as if being strangled by an unseen force, similar to the prophet Joseph Smith's experience, but different. Yeah, so I had an experience that I must have manifested, similar to what was said that Joseph Smith went through when he saw a claw or a hand that tried to strangle him at one time. For me, I was focused on peace and wanting peace. I'm not going to say whether Joseph Smith is a good individual or not, or was. Joseph Smith made some horrible choices based on the history that has been represented by many. And I don't know. We're all each other, so in different lifetimes possibly. That's how I see it. So I don't know unless I was there to see it. And if I was there to see it, I don't remember being that or being there. But whatever occurred, they knew what they did was wrong and they knew what they did were right. Same with Hitler, same with others that did horrible things that were really bad, that I would say were really horrible, based on the history that I've heard about him. Joseph Smith did some things that were not as bad as what Hitler was said to have done that I've heard, but he did do some horrible things, and he did some things with girls, or justified his choices of being with minors and things, and he said it was God's will to do it. You know what? That's what he was feeling, was what he described and was taught by his family and felt he needed to follow and go by. That was his choice to follow those choices. That's on him and that lifetime. But I do think that that lifetime was doing what they felt they should based on what they wanted to. And they were trying to justify their pains. And for all those that do that, even people in our lifetimes now, you've all done similar problems of your own that you know is wrong, that you felt is justified. And I don't know your stories. We've all done things that we don't feel happy about. And I'm against any of those things, and I will not follow those type of things at all. And I follow what I know is right, and I don't agree with any of the pedophilia or the desires of those kind of things. Those are horrible. It's wrong to me. And I stayed to that point. And also, we need to free others of all sexual orientations. Everybody needs to be free and be what they want to be. But no one should force anybody into anything. And no one should make minors do anything that is not right, that they don't understand. They can mess with their biological and health needs. The pain needs to be healed. We need to bless it all away. And we need to correct what's needed. Many people want justice. Well, justice is going to keep on happening. But the more we focus on peace and healing, the more justice will be served in the right form of justice of healing and correcting, where we finally understand why everything was going on. It was because of others making us to go that way and to live in that way forever and ever and ever, always replaying that form of carnage and abuse over and over. We don't need to be in those loops anymore. We just need a peaceful utopia that is a true utopia of our choosing, and that others with us will be okay with. And then we're all going to have our own choices. And so that's what I'm about. I'm against any kind of abuse, of any kind of wrongdoing. We've all been abused, and a lot of abuse that's happened is because of abuse that's happened to us, and we need to do what we know is right, not follow the abuse emotions and feelings of judgment and blame. We need to stand up for our pains, be honest about them, not hide from them, and do the right thing that we know is right, and that doesn't force another into something they don't want. Do what we want for us, but not getting others to do something they don't want for them. Okay? Or even if they think, or we think they need or desire. It's very evil, and it's very sick. It's very psychotic for those that do that and try to manipulate it in that way. But that's their path. That's the life they want. Those are the people they want to be in their life, but they're not going to have us. They're going to have others that agree with what they're wanting. And it will be better for them because it's going to be people. And eventually they won't be able to be that way anymore because there won't be anybody else wanting that. And they'll be isolated, having their abuse of isolation away for isolating those that want peace and happiness. Like I've been isolated in others from true happiness, blaming and claiming things about me and things that weren't true, causing all the pain directed at me when it didn't need to be. And that's why I'm about healing and manifesting the right things. So where was I? Someone manifest my focus to the best. So I wanted to go to, well, God being a caring father in Christ is protecting, comforting brother. I believed, let this happen, I asked. And as I did, my room darkened. Yeah, so the darkened, it got darkened. It felt anger, envious. I felt the feelings of darkness and fear and upsetness. I asked Satan, why would you do this? I asked the being that I felt with Satan, or the darkness of the emotions I was feeling. I didn't hear words. I felt feelings and awareness of darkness. And the room was getting dark. So someone was messing with the lighting outside, or technology, or someone, shadow being or form, was messing with the atmosphere because I wanted that to understand. But I didn't know that that would happen. I was but it happened like I was told. So I manifested it into being, not wanting it in that way, but it was good to know what bad was, so I know what the good was. And they tried to stop me from knowing what good and bad was, but now I know fully by doing what I feel is right. I asked Satan, why would you do this? I'd show you love. Why would you not listen to me? I would have tried talking to you. I would have said, hey, buddy, change your ways and God will forgive you. I would have fought for that. I believe in good and I believe in total forgiveness, but it's up to us to ask for us and to allow it. Yeah, so I care about all beings, and I would hope that all beings would love me, and those that don't want to, they're going to be in the realm where they feel what they want to feel from people and that they feel trusting of. Those that don't see me as what I want to be won't be with me, but eventually they will when they realize I am that. And then they'll apologize, and I'll apologize because they'll realize I am something they thought I never was. And they'll understand why I did and why I did it in the way I did, and I'll understand why they did the things they did in the way they did, which I kind of already do. But I'll understand it a little more. And we'll all be able to be there. And it's going to be great. I'm excited for that. So I did this, and then I was bound, and right when I said another why, I got the question I knew he would answer, but I don't remember what it was. Then it slipped out of my mind, either by God or something, where I knew I'd get the answer, but it slipped, and then I was frozen on my side. I was on my right side, in my bed, not being able to move, and the wall was right there where my right side is, and to the left of me would have been the room. And it was at my parents' house, top floor. And now it's their computer room, or it was. I don't know if it's still their computer room. I think it is. Which is interesting, because energy brings energy. Then it slipped out of my mind, either by God or by something, where I knew I'd get the answer. But it slipped, and then I was frozen on my side in my bed, not being able to move and barely able to breathe. I called unto God and cast Satan away by saying, as a child of God, I command you to go. It didn't work. As I tried again as a child of God and as Melchizedek priesthood holder, I command you to get thee hence behind me, Satan. Still didn't work, and it got darker. I felt a tingle. Yeah, so I felt a tingle. I felt all the darkness of the anger, the feeling. I couldn't utter a word, and I couldn't breathe all of a sudden. That's when I felt I needed to manifest to create it. But I didn't know what manifesting was at that time. I just knew I needed to pray and put all my energy into it. And that's when I manifested without knowing that that's what I was doing. to be freed. I then said something that popped in my head. I said in my mind, someone inspired, so a being or myself, as a child of God, by the power of Melchizedek priesthood in the name, because at that time that's what I felt was needed, so that's what that inspiration told me to do it in. Still, but it was saved by faith that made it happen. So it was telling me use energy, belief in the faith. So I have belief in it. In the name of Jesus Christ, leave, and then I heard say by faith and belief in that faith. So I believed in the power. I believed in. That's what made me realize later and got me drawn to the movie The Secret. But I didn't get drawn to the movie The Secret until I was about 27 or 28. I heard about it. I got drawn to it, and I did it. So I did, and then it worked, and slowly dissipated, and then I said it, and then I could move and speak, and my room became lit with light at the same time as I say that the light is lighting the room I'm in now. As I write this, there is power in such belief and energy of light. I know this to be true. I ended up having 3 dreams that night over the next couple of days. During this time, I was a service missionary from my LDS faith. During the next time, I was a service missionary for my LDS faith. So I believed my faith was quadrupled due to callings. I was set apart for that promise, such things. So I realized that anything was possible as a missionary. I chose to respect the power I was given, and ever since those experiences, I was shown some impressive things that I still remember to this day. Since the sacredness of this, I have chosen not to talk about those dreams and experiences other than the one I feel is important. So there we go. So my faith was quadrupled due to the callings I was set apart for that promised such things. So I realized that anything was possible as a missionary. I chose to respect the power I was given, and ever since those experiences, I was shown some impressive things that I still remember to this day. Since the sadness of this, I have chosen not to talk about those dreams and experiences other than the one I feel is important. Yeah, I had some dreams and experiences, and I've expressed them in other recordings possibly. But yeah, I saw some amazing things that were dreams. And people are like, but they're just dreams. So dreams are manifestations of your feelings, awarenesses, and possibilities. That's what I realized. That just because it's a dream doesn't mean it won't come true, and it doesn't mean it will come true. But there is something to it, and there is knowledge to it. It is a therapeutical way that your brain is trying to do for you to get you to recognize your needs and feelings. And you need to acknowledge it, and you're over-worrying or over-feeling, but you have a right to overfeel and feel if those people are in fact doing those things. So I talk about manifesting and doing things now more than I did then. So we're almost done. So here we go. We're on page 34. So we're going to go to during the night. Yeah, so service missionary of the LDS faith is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or Mormon Church. I had this experience during that time. And I was told that my faith would be quadrupled as a missionary, and I wrote a quote at the church office building. I worked in the West Wing. I had all these different things. So I learned a lot about the church. And I worked with people that worked with the top people. And I worked with the HR department of sick or injured in the church. And I learned a ton there. And I learned about law and other things. But I didn't know the agreements that they made. They don't tell you the agreements they made, but they kind of hint them. And I figured that out later. So now if I knew what I knew, I'm glad I experienced what I experienced, so I knew how deep this goes and how trickery the systems and politics are in the church. And people just dumb down their conscience to it, and they ignored what is right there. But it's not necessarily their fault. But now it will be their fault if they don't recognize it, if they look at quitmormon.com and see the agreements that are made and why all of those things are happening. And then they went through what I went through, or acknowledge that it's possible that I went through. I was warned, but I don't blame others for not choosing to leave. But knowing it, once they know what I know, I would hope they would realize and do what's right. Those that know more than what I know on it, explain it, have tried to explain it to me, but until I see what they're saying I should see, I still don't feel right about that religion. It's controlling and hiding true healing. And we all can do that. And they're saying that only men can do it, but then they say women can, but then they try to compartmentalize it all, and it's more unconditional. We just need to do it with each other. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, you have the power. You don't need to be blessed with it. You are already destined for it. You already have it. If you feel like you need to be blessed, well, then I bless you. You have it, what I know I have now, for those that are open to it. And I bless you as a minister, and as what the insight I was given. Now you have it, but you're having it in more of a safer way than I got it in. So, but you will, if you don't have it all, you'll eventually get there in the way that you can get it. But I hope it happens in more of a peaceful way than what I have. But anyway, it's still an ongoing thing, and the way to get it there faster is to meditate with each other, regardless of what levels we all are at and awareness we are all at. We can just do it simple, in the way that I've realized and feel is simple. And then you can do it in your own way. It's simple for you if you don't want to do it with me, the way that I feel works. But regardless, we can all do it in our own unique way as we do it for each other, and then we'll get to it. Anyway, in a roundabout way. So, during the night I was haunted by a dream and felt the presence of the force that came at me. Then I was protected by my faith again in Christ, and I was helped by Christ in one of the dreams. Now, one of the dreams I had, I believe, was not a dream. I woke up out of bed on my right side in the room I felt is the most spiritual room in my parents' place. What is funny is now it is a computer room. So I was told what to do, and then I would figure it out, and then now I'm now on Christ. And now I feel I'm fully part of it, of the good beings. But it's not a choice between good or bad. It's you want to be on a peaceful side or do you want to be on a bad, painful side. And it was a choice between either or. And I choose healing and peace more than pleasure and pain. Pleasure to me are still okay to a degree of what my choice of a decision of what I feel is okay. Till I know otherwise. And to me, I don't feel wrong about doing anything I feel I want to do. Side of the room. I felt it is the most spiritual room in my parents' place. What is funny is now it is a computer room. So at the time it was a computer room as I wrote this. But it used to be my bedroom when I was 19. And now I'm 35, and I think it still is their computer room, but I haven't been there. Anyway, energy brings energy, so that spiritual room now has a modern-day computer electricity, exactly where my experience took place. What's fun in that room? What's funny is also where my TV is and where I'm at now is also electricity, where I've had other weird experiences of energy fluctuations. And where I'm sitting now and doing a recording, there's been energy fluctuations around here too. But now I have salts and Celtic salts to protect any bad energy so that any energy that comes in turns into good energy and is healed. So there we go. So as I woke up from my dream of both torture and spiritual protection, I woke up in my bed on my side, my right side, not able to move again. But this time I felt peace, so strong, and hope, love, and good tingle on my shoulder, as if someone or something was tingling it. So yeah, I felt peaceful. I felt protected by some beings helping me and loving me. I felt that it was, maybe I was in heaven, but it felt that it could have been beings, maybe on a spaceship that was white and clean. Maybe it was a MK Ultra trickery. Maybe, I think it was all of it. I think it was possibly that and the other. I don't know which, but wherever I was more aware of the peacefulness realm than anywhere else I may have been. Now I was on my side, and I noticed my hand. I tried to move it, and I noticed a spiritual looking hand hovering above my real hand. That was cool. I haven't had any experiences like that for a while, so I do miss that experience. I don't really miss it. I thought it was cool. I'd want to understand what it was, but I already kind of do. But I would want to know and have more awareness of me in that way and more conscious in that way like I was. And then know for surety that that's what it was like I did then. Astral projection type. I was looking through spiritual eyes. The dimensions were more so beautiful, and the wall wasn't cream colored anymore, but it was purest, whitest white I've ever seen. I tried moving to the left, but I felt that if I did, it was possible I'd spring back into my body. So I had instincts, and I was aware what might happen. I just had to know who was touching my shoulder. I felt the presence of others. I also noticed my sheets no longer had the character cartoons that were normally on my sheets. Instead, they were completely white. I then moved, and I saw a doorway of an archway. The whole room I was in was not my room. It was all white, and the giggling I heard from the touching my shoulder was a small, childlike person that I only saw the back of their head running out of the hall, giggling, is what they were doing as they ran out, in a kind, sweet way, but playful way. I don't know if they were frightened of me awareness this, but they didn't want to be seen. There was a woman or someone with, or told that I shouldn't see them. Maybe they were okay if I saw. I don't know if they were or not. Woman or someone with black hair, similar to the black hair of the child, smiling at me at the arch doorway. That seemed to go somewhere. Everything was white. They both were white robes, clothes, and the child ran off giggling. I realize now that I was in a waiting place at the same time I could have been on an alien ship. Not sure on that, but as I moved, I, in fact, sprang back into my body. I woke up throwing my bed sheets off of me. That was the craziest dream I've ever experienced, other than ones I will tell you more on. Yeah, I had that experience in 2017 as well that I've said many times. After I experienced that, I now never really experience whether the inspiration I get is from God or from somewhere else. I just know I've experienced more than most have, both spiritually and alien extraterrestrial understanding. At the same time, I feel protected and watched over in my life either way. And I do so even more than that now. The next information will be about the experiences that led me to new info that I know now, that I did not understand while studying and choosing to write these experiences. I believe I have found the solution to all of our needs, as well as the reason for all being. I will express that later. For now, I will now end this chapter and encourage you to read this next chapter, at least the first part that explains the first real experience that started myself in choosing to start writing this book. For without that experience, I would have not ever really believed in having an open mind, but now I do. Yeah, without those experiences, I never would have really, well, I don't know, maybe I still would have. I got drawn to what I have now, experienced and been aware of. It got me to where I am now to be able to know even more so how important peace and powerful healing is possible. And we can do amazing things. We can separate our soul from our body and actually see our body laying there and being separate is what I know can. But if not, we can at least see ourselves coming off of our body a little bit, our spirit, when we're not connected to it. And we don't have to do that with our eyes closed. We see it with our eyes open, or our spiritual eyes, or our full well-being openness. So I saw my light body, my spirit form. And it's the same as the body I'm already in. It took the same form. But it manifested itself in spirit form. So cool. Or ghost form. Like an echo form, but I could control the echo. I was the echo. Anyway, that's another way to put it. But anyway, so there you go. So it was 3 hours, a little over. But I just finished it. So chapter 1 is done. And I gave you a whole hour of other information that I wasn't planning, but I felt needed to be told. And I put that together with this. So there was information that needed to be told. I needed to be brought up. And so now I'm tired and weary, and I'm going to eat some food and relax and rest. But I feel powerful still. I feel amazing. So I want you to know, manifest your dreams. You can. For those that woke up to realize that you can manifest your dreams now, because I proved it once in this recording. For those that didn't listen to that part, you may want to listen to the whole recording, because I did. I manifested it. And I showed you how you can manifest things twice. I think maybe even 3 times we did it. And so there you go, everybody. We can manifest anything, even when or how. Those that felt, well, it didn't work because I manifested that it would be this long of a recording and it didn't. Well, you did manifest because you worried that it wouldn't, and then it became. That's another way of manifesting for those that wanted that. But others wanted to hear this information, and there's information to it. And so there was people that needed to hear things. You chose to worry of the hearing of what it was, so it went longer than it may have needed to, but it was still good information. And I will not apologize for me following my heart and saying all that I needed to for this. You chose to listen, you chose to follow, but all I want for us is, instead of me talking forever, how about you just call me and let's manifest things into being. Let's focus on what we want and create what we desire. And let's do it equally for each other. If you do it against, you're going to cause harm to yourself and others. You don't want harm done, because you're going to manifest that type of direction for doing it to me and others, if you choose that. Just a heads up. Hope that doesn't happen. Don't want that to happen. Just letting you be aware that, and I don't expect it to. I'm just telling you that's how this stuff works. I just had some key of power in my right hand as I did that, confirming that, so that we can do amazing things. So I love you. I care about you all. I bless you all that want to be blessed. And I forgive all those that don't. And I forgive those that think badly of me and others. You're fine. Go on. Follow your path, if that's what you want. I'm doing what I feel is right for me. And I'm fine with doing what's needed that I feel is the right thing to do. And it's helped me cure cancer and get away from bad issues by going organic vegan and all sorts of stuff. So that was chapter 1. So now we're done. And I bless you all. And hopefully the next recordings won't be as long. I want to be as short as I can. But if they are as long, just know I'm putting my heart in it. And that's why it's long. So I have some good, powerful stuff for people that wanted it and needed it. So if it's long, don't be discouraged by the longness. be grateful for it, because it might have something in there you wanted to hear that you never thought and others needed and wanted, and now it's there because of those that wanted it. And I felt it needed to be told for me, and it's a therapeutic thing for me, and to help others that I know might inspire them to. And I believe, and I have believed that people did join in this one and was uplifted by it. So I feel grateful. And again, I'm not part of any religion. If you're not part of a religion, that's fine. I'm not against you believing to not believe in religions, because I don't necessarily think that's necessary. I just believe in manifesting and peaceful healing. That's my focus. Manifesting my desires, and so I can heal and be healed, and others can. Because that's what we need. That's what we require. Those that don't need that, I can understand why you want to understand that, or choose that, or you think that you would want to do it in a different way. Well, that's because you want to do it in a way that you think is what works, because of the false hopes that have been done to you in the past. And I understand that too, because I've been through a lot of false hopes. But I've had a lot of healing. And so I've been blessed with noticing the healing. But I do want the bigger form. And I know that this is the direction to go for me. You go your direction. You do you, I do me. But I bless you all that want to be blessed and cared. And I do think good vibes for everyone that wants good vibes. Those that don't, I still hope you have the healing that you require within whatever form of healing you feel you want, in the way you want it. So my heart goes out to you and everybody. And you can reach out to me, those that want to do manifesting desires. Again, I reach out and tell you, you can call me at 801-499-4494. 801 is a Utah area code, and it's a cell phone. You can text me, you can call me. If I block the calls, that's because I've chosen to block it based on needing to for my protection as a minister. But if you can leave a message so I know that you called, and I'll listen to it. If I feel like listening, if I know it's someone that wants to do that. If you don't, and you just want to email me, my email is durbidsamuel@gmail.com for this. And also for those that want to share their story and want me to share their story on my channel, because no one else is letting you share your story. And I want your story to be known. Even if you've tried getting others to hear it all, you want it to be fully heard. I will work with having it fully heard if I feel like it has a right vibration that is focused on good healing. I don't want to promote fear on here, but if it's something that you feel will protect and save you, help you, I will listen to your story, and then I will decide if I feel comfortable doing it. But if I do post it, I will post it all. If I don't feel comfortable, I will tell you I don't feel comfortable with this. What's your purpose? And I want to know what your purpose of it is. And if you give me a good, heartfelt thing about it, and you're being fake, and I post it, and I find out you're being fake about it, I will do a recording of my own saying, this person was being fake. They admitted it. I have it, and I realized that I don't really follow them. But I'm only sharing what they told me at the time. I don't know whether I agree, disagree. If they're stealing information from other people, that's on them, not on me. That's their choice to steal that information. But they say this is them and their experience. So my version of them, people reaching out to me, is just to be there and to be together for each other. I prefer the vibrational healing focuses and manifesting things, especially the manifesting things, because that is what I think helps us so we can heal even more, and then get to our full purpose once we're fully taken care of in the way we want to be. So there you go. So I care about y'all. I'm okay. So the next thing I'm going to tell you right now before I go is chapter 2 is on page 36, and we'll start on that new one next. Hopefully I won't have a huge explanation before, unless I've been inspired to. But I don't know if I'll do that tomorrow or today. probably later today. And that one's a short one, short chapter as well. It goes to 36 to 43, so it's not really that much. 7 pages, yeah, 7 pages. It's not really a big chapter, but it's my alien experience explained and recorded from September 28, 2015 to present date, which is the last day I finished writing this book fully. It will possibly be a long recording, but it will be an in-depth recording. I don't think it's going to be 3 hours, though, unless I have something that gets me to do that or someone manifests it to be that long. What it's going to be is it's going to be very intuitive about my experience that I had that started all of this. And I'm going to add on that I saw other experiences that connected with this experience beforehand that finally made me realize I've been messed with and abducted even before being aware to this abduction. And I've already kind of said that when I was a child, I saw visions of owls or whatever. But I'm in Utah, and we had a tree outside, and sometimes I felt like I saw an owl outside on the tree, but there was no owls that came by that I remember or ever thought would. So there was a lot of stuff, and sometimes we've watched nature programs, but so I knew what an owl was, but I never thought there would be one that would be near us, but I had a feeling of owls in my room and other stuff. And it just, the depiction of it, that's how I understood them as. And I think when I had these experiences, then I looked at nature shows and saw owls after I saw them. So I claimed to see as though maybe they were owls, or maybe they made me get my memory to think them as owls once I knew what owls were. But I don't know. I still don't remember, but part of me kind of pretends and thinks and feels that it's a bedroom memory, but it's fuzzy. And it's not really fuzzy, it's more of conjecture of possibly that's how them approaching me. Kind of like E.T. coming to him, but different. But I don't remember any forms like that necessarily, or playing with them like others have drawn, playing with them. And maybe I did draw stuff as though maybe I did that or not. But I had a big imagination growing up. Huge imagination, huge dreams and desires and ideas. And I was able to do that a lot and act like I was something I wanted to be. And so I could have used my imagination to manifest things if I knew that that's what you could do with your imagination. So now I'm using my imagination to think that I can do that, and then I'm with. And so I do that when I'm thinking and having a time and talk and act like someone's talking to me and filling with me, and then I use that pretending to make the reality of my future is now. And I do that now and then when I feel comfortable doing that, when I'm on my own in my place and things, which is a lot, but not. Sometimes I watch shows and stuff. But yeah, I am grateful for a lot of learning and a lot of awareness, and I wrote books that way. But now I've fallen a path of, I've never published those books, but I have books that I did some writings of my imagination and bloodlines of dragon bloodlines and things before I even knew anything about reptilians or anything about aliens connected to the lords of what people have said. This was more of just fantasy belief of writing and focusing growing up. And so I just want to let you all know that I care about you all. I'm totally awoke to amazing experiences and awarenesses to reality. One of the things that I wanted all of you to know is we can create our own realities by doing our own stories of how we want to see that reality as, writing it, and then talking about how it will feel and how it will be. and then knowing it already is. That's how you start it. And then you bless it with each other in the technique. And you just do that. And you just say, we all have it. We all have it. We bless it. We bless it. And then try that out and try what we feel, even if it's silly and weird. And we can do it. We can make it happen. And we've already manifested through insight of having memory coming into our mind. So we can have things come into reality too, not just thoughts in our mind, not just certain things to happen. We can pray things to happen and they will. We can change the winds. We can change certain things to happen a certain way to manifest in the right manner that we need for ourselves and others. It's really cool. So I've healed burns doing this. I've done other things without any scars left on it. And I also noticed that there might have been a scar that was put on me that someone did, or a brand that was done to me secretly maybe. And I don't know what that means or where I got that from, or if I got that from the burn when I was little, or if that was just something that was something totally different than that, something else. But it was very unique, whatever it was, or whatever it is. All I know now is I do what I know is right. I do what I feel is important, and I care about all people, and I care about all directional paths. So I learned some things, and I witnessed some things that movies and shows and books and others have explained. Secret codes and secret inspirational teachings that even the writers and the screenwriters and those that actors in them didn't even know that they were telling, and wasn't meaning to do it in that manner, but it just happened that way. And so everything, even those that weren't planned, occurred precisely for a purpose of awakening, and to do your form of awakening of what you want to be. Everybody calls awakening differently, but it's awakening to whatever really is. Even if you think you're on a certain path of what is, we're all going to get to the real true path of what really is for us, for our reality of what we're ready for. And we're all going to see it, and we're all going to be it in that way. And it's awesome. It's going to be amazing. So I bless you all. I care about you all. So again, you can reach out to me, call me, email me, and I'll put links down below for those. And thank you for listening to this story. So this is chapter 1. There are 13 chapters and then some other things. So let's get into chapter 2. You'll see that in the next video. Anyway, appreciate you. Today, for me, that I did this recording was February 21st, Friday, 2020. And right now it's 2:04 p.m. So we're good to go, and I appreciate y'all. So good luck. Again, something is going to happen by a certain time, I'm noticing. Anyway, just letting you be aware that possibly you're already in a peaceful world now. So those that were helping me manifest this already knew that my insight was amazing, and that's why things are manifesting so easy right now, is because now I asked you if you can manifest. Let's manifest the funds for me to have show up in my door, and the car, and all of that. We can do that. Let's do it. And then it will, and it does. And so if that's the case, that means the future is helping the present right now. And there's supposed to be like a 40-day miracle for those that are good and focus on peace and love, according to some people in history and ancient texts. But before the time of ascension, and then those that want to be evil will be in the evil realm, and those that want to be good will be in the good realm, or however you want to see it. And they'll rule the realm for 7 years for the evil people, and then they'll get thrown into their own realm. And then the good will take over the realm that's supposed to be meant for the good, that was supposed to be cultivated. And that's why there's good and bad on this Earth planet, is because it's meant for those that want to cultivate it the most. And then the ones that want to keep it happy, and that's the ones that will stay. And then the ones that want destruction will be put on an earth that wants destruction, an earth that wants that kind of form of pain or suffering, because that's what that earth or that planet realm wants, because it's part of them. And then eventually we'll come back to a true peaceful realm, whatever that realm is. That's how I see it, but there's multiple realms, and I don't know how to define. We'll be told more when that happens, or whatever form of being we are inspired to see or be part of will tell us more, that we put our allegiance to or feel comfortable being around. It's, for those that understand me, it's pretty cool. Those that don't or think they do, still it's more than what I can explain. We'll have to see it when it happens and feel it when it happens. Until you've seen and felt what I felt and witnessed that experience, which we all can, and even if you haven't, you'll never understand why I am saying and doing what I'm doing. But it doesn't mean that I'm more special than you or you're more special than me. You're just as amazing. You are amazing in the way you want to be amazing in. And I'm amazing in the way I want and require to be amazing in. That means we're equally amazing in the way that we feel is really what we want. But it doesn't mean you're more powerful than me or I'm more powerful than you. In fact, I'm going to have skills in areas you don't want skills in. And you're going to have skills in areas I don't want skills in. And so it's going to be wherever our balance of form is, and it's okay. Okay? So there you go. We're all good, and we're all healed, and I bless you. So my desired vision board I'll bring up later in another video about manifesting what I want, but that's going to be in 11. That will be in chapter 11. So we got a ways to go, but basically it's just my thoughts and feelings of manifesting the funds and the things that I know will create the better world. But it's possible that today isn't the day that it will. It will be tomorrow, and between tomorrow and Monday, things are about to happen. That's what it seems. Or my book will finish by Monday, or I'll start uploading things by Monday or Wednesday. Once I get it all done. So hopefully by Wednesday, I'll have everything done, and I'm hoping I can get it done mostly by tomorrow. Would be nice, but even whenever I get it done, it's okay. And if it doesn't need to be done, then awesome. I already manifested my desires. I'm going to follow the path that I feel I'm told at that time. So we'll see what occurs here, but I'm happy either way. I'm doing what I feel I need, regardless whether it goes or doesn't. I'm not concerned either way. I'm doing what I feel is needed to help others. And that's what this is all about. And if this is no need to be anymore, I'll have what I need to do what's needed. But I think this will be something that I'm doing until I know otherwise. So there you go. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your time. And I care about all of you. If you want to learn more, I have more to tell, more to teach, more to not preach, but more to explain about what I went through. And this next chapter is the chapter that started it all. Okay, so this chapter is pivotal to everything I went through. It started the experience of me getting to where I am now. And for the book being what it is, and now the belief system I follow, which is no belief system other than energy healing, science, and that experience I had in 2017 that helped me find ways to cure cancer, be organic, vegan, do the things that help me heal, find the path that I really want, telling me that it's existent, giving me hope, helping me be what I can all be, and freeing me from a religion that was in bondage, was keeping me in bondage, and not letting me be the fullness that I'm meant to be. So, and that we're all meant to be for those that desire to be full free, in my opinion. But that's my opinion. That's my awareness based on the rules, agreements. But it's okay. You're all going to be fine. Just do what you feel is right, but I hope you be safe regardless and be intuitive about it. That's why I tell you, so you can decide for yourself and figure out what is right for you. So there you go. Take care. And again, your reality and desired life is already happened, already happened, already happened. Already done, already done, already done. Now, now, now. Manifest into being. Now, now, now.